A martini, shaken, not stirred.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
I'm your #1 fan.
And here we go.
Your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might.
Happy Good Sunday, moviegoers. Welcome to Oscar Sunday. Welcome to Mortal Kombat, and welcome to the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and I am joined by the guys, the cast, Ed.
Hey, what's up, folks?
Zach.
What's going on, guys?
And Craig.
Yo, yo, yo.
How you guys doing?
So far, so good, you know.
Little different feel here. Hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. Good Sunday to everybody, as we are just a few hours away from the Oscar ceremony. So we're going to check it out. We have all Oscar predictions at the end of the show, along with Mortal Kombat, guys. It is the trending movie this weekend, trending worldwide. We're going to get right into it. But first, we're going to take a look back and say thank you to everybody who downloaded the Scorpion King episode. That movie, you guys can rate it yourself. I will read emails later today about Scorpion King. You can look at it and watch it on HBO Max, streaming exclusively on HBO Max, or you could probably find it in the $3 bin at your local Walmart.
I'd say like 50 cents at Goodwill.
Yeah, that too. Or there's also Big Lots. They have movies and DVDs. And Zach, speaking of, you found the Scorpion King.
I found it in a 3-pack with Doom, the Scorpion King, and The Rundown on Blu-ray at Dollar General.
For how much?
$5.
$5. You get 3 awesome rock movies. But we're going to talk about that next week. So, Zach, I talked to you about this a little bit earlier. We'll kind of talk a little movie news. There's not much we can get into. Warner Brothers is closing down and shutting down the archives of Warner Brothers, which means they're no longer producing any movies, hard copy wise, out of the archives.
Right.
So, with that being said, they're still going to produce like Wonder Woman 84.
Thank God we bought the box set of The Wizard of Oz a couple years ago.
They're also going to, do like the new movies that are coming out on Blu-ray and 4K.
But anything like the classic Looney Tunes or like their old movies, that's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
So they're not doing any more on that. They fired everybody, locked it up, shut it down. Is this a shock to anybody, or do you think this is just the start?
Disney's done it with a lot of movies, and they bring them out in like 20th anniversaries and whatnot. So I don't think it's completely vaulted away. It's there for safekeeping, and they'll release it on certain anniversaries, box sets.
Yeah, and plus now that Warner Brothers is part of HBO Max, they can just throw up those movies on there.
Which means you won't be able to find any re-release movies for like $5 or $10 anymore.
Right.
They're not going to be there. Those are all on hold. Like Zach said, Craig, HBO Max or anniversary editions, and they're going to charge an arm and a leg for it too, probably.
No, I'm sure. Yeah.
Other than that, guys, let's get into Memorial Day war movies. In just a few weeks, we are doing our popular Memorial Day war episode, and that means that we pretty much have So every year we pick a war movie for the last 2 years on Memorial Day Monday, and we review it and release it. Last year was Hacksaw Ridge. The year before that was Saving Private Ryan. So we all picked 4 movies, and I'm going to go ahead and release and tell everybody what those 4 movies are. And then the first week of May, we're going to start a
bracket style tournament.
A bracket style tournament, and we are going to have a
competition.
Let you guys vote through all the social medias, and may the best movie win. So Edward here nominated American Sniper, Jarhead, Good Morning Vietnam, and Black Hawk Down. I nominated Inglourious Bastards, Platoon, Apocalypse Now, and The Deer Hunter. Zach nominated Dunkirk, Warhorse, Fury, and We Were Soldiers. And Craig nominated Letters to Iwo Jima,
Iwo Jima.
Overlord, The Five Bloods, and Flags of Our Fathers. If you guys want to start emailing, you can email, but we're still going to send up a bracket and do it that way.
Yeah, Johnny wouldn't let me do Infinity War and
Civil War.
War. Movies that had war in the name.
Star Wars.
War of the Worlds. Like, we already did that, Craig.
But I was like, hey, we can go back and rehash it.
But let's go ahead and talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All right, guys, let's talk about it. Like we did for the WandaVision episode, we're going to give our star rating on the entire series of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then let's talk about the series finale. Zach, we'll start with you. What did you guys think?
No, I thought it was a good series finale. It was kind of, all the episodes before that had been probably about 58 minutes long. This one was kind of short for
It's
it
like
to be
51.
for it to be a series finale. But honestly, I thought it was a good, really set up for the future, and it just wrapped up everything that needed to be done for this show.
Yeah, I agree with you. Basically, they set it up as a TV series to kind of set up the whole moving forward from Falcon to Captain America instead of, possibly doing a starting off film.
Yeah.
So this will lead it right into, it'll lead right into Cap 4 with, no wasted space. They'll just be able to hop right into it and get going.
What about you, Ed?
Honestly, it started out kind of like, okay, who the hell are these guys? It didn't. If you don't know exactly who they are from comics or whatever have you, you're not going to know. But it does explain kind of what their motive is, what their operation is trying to do. So I mean, definitely great villains. Made the heroes look even better for that matter. Kind of like what you said, Zach, setting up for more projects in the future. So that's awesome. As well as we finally get a new Cap that is the literal hand-picked next Cap from the original Cap. So that's all cool too. Which I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody knew it was going to go that way eventually, but
when you know how,
when and exactly how. However, I was just like when that suitcase got set up there from Wakanda and Bucky to Sam, I was just like, man, that fucking that better look legit, or that better be at least somewhat good.
It's a badass suit.
They delivered. They delivered big time on that.
So I mean, I've got to say, I really liked the series. I thought it turned out amazing. It didn't start as slow as WandaVision did.
Oh, WandaVision started off like dog shit.
But I mean, this one was pretty strong throughout the entire thing. So
I did enjoy that you got the suit and him in action right away.
Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't make you wait till the last 10 minutes.
And then
but yeah, you got action. This was probably this is the best episode. It wasn't to me there was no bad episodes throughout the whole series, but this was definitely a really, really good episode.
Yeah, and I mean, some people even
and there was
I'm not going to say shitting on the episode, but they were like, "Oh, this episode's not the best." And yeah, some episodes had good fight scenes, but this was a mixture of everything. It had emotion, it had fight scenes, it had character development, it had plot, it had literally everything you want. It didn't have Cap versus John Walker like everybody kind of thought it was going towards, but that's
what are you talking about, like Chris Evans versus?
No, like Sam Wilson Cap versus U.S. Agent.
Yeah, but they don't have to follow straight from the comic.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of what we thought it was going towards, and that's on us. That's not a bad episode.
The way they have it set up is perfect.
Yeah,
you can follow some stuff from the comics, but it doesn't have to be word for word.
Right.
And I mean, on top of that, who says that's not going to be next? Because I mean, they did call him U.S. Agent at the very end of the episode. On top of that, I mean, he's still I mean, it's still Cap and all that shit. Plus,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
what Craig is talking about, what a lot of people wanted was
They wanted that to be the season finale.
yeah, they wanted
Yeah.
him in the Captain America suit against.
U.S. agent.
well,
John.
no, I get that, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, that could be in the next movie his big
Cat 4,
rival, you know.
Mhm.
So
And-
we'll see how that goes.
So there is a lot of talk about
Possible.
Loki being Bucky in this series because they showed a picture of Loki having a ring on his hand, and that same ring is on Bucky's hand.
Mm.
So they were saying, there's a possibility of Loki setting up an evil Avengers
Yeah.
with U.S. Agent being the Cap, Agatha being the Scarlet Witch, bringing in what's the Bat Hulk
She-Hulk.
Abomination.
Abomination
Yeah.
versus Hulk. Like there's that whole theory, and I'm excited to see where it is. This is what I want. I want them to tease us to where we start thinking about what ifs, and that's the best part about
But
Marvel.
I am glad that. Go ahead, Zach.
Well, I was just going to say, adding on to that, it's also of course, we're in spoilers, but in the post-credit scene, it's revealed that Sharon Carter got her pardon, but now she's basically bad, and
Yeah.
now she's in the U.S. government.
Well, and there's also
Which you called in last week's episode.
I did call that.
So
she was the power broker. There's also the Skrull invasion.
Yeah.
There's also that. She could be a Skrull.
Mhm.
Bucky could have been a Skrull, and they could all be trying to do something. So
I am glad that the series finale ended with kind of some closure, and it didn't leave you on that big cliffhanger note.
yeah.
A lot of people were worried that it was just going to live, since it was a series finale, and there was rumors that it was going to be season 2 or a movie, that it just would give you a cliffhanger. But this one, it ended on really good terms. I really liked the ending.
It ended the series, but it also left you with the possibility of what's coming.
And then as soon as the episode dropped, almost a few hours later,
Cat 4 was announced.
yeah, Captain America 4 announced for a full-length feature film.
Yeah.
So
And, I think we all kind of had our doubts with Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, not because of what people might think, because of it being
The
Anthony Mackie.
the moment Endgame ended and he gave him the shield, I was happy. I had closure. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I felt like it was, good. I just didn't know how he would look in the cap suit, but I think Anthony Mackie's going to kill it. I think that is the right direction. I think they're going to do Bucky justice in whatever route they go with him, but I think Sam Wilson going into Captain America is like,
it'll be a lot better than people think.
yeah, just give it a chance. Let the man have his moment. Let the man be what they set him up to be, and enjoy it, dude.
So, like,
Yeah.
two things. About a year ago, Anthony Mackie was actually interviewed for the Google's Most Asked Questions answered by that actor or actors or actress or whatever have you. And one of the last questions is Anthony Mackie Captain America? He's like, or is Falcon Captain America? And he was like, no, Falcon's Falcon. And he kind of winked at the camera. This was literally a year ago, so it's just like, dude, you're already kind of fucking telling on yourself. As well as he thinks he has the best looking suit in the MCU. He's literally said that.
Yeah, I mean,
For a non-CGI suit.
I mean,
Everybody else has got a CGI suit technically.
yeah. And I thoroughly enjoyed the way they utilized his wings and everything. Like when he was fighting the super agents and they kind of hit him and he was pushing back and his wings stuck in the ground.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then whenever he used the wings to kind of dome it up with the shield on top to cover up from the helicopter.
And
Yeah.
stuff like that is just a little bit of ingenuity here and there that's going to actually put him on a different level, because he's not the super soldier that Steve is.
No,
or
but
was.
he has other things to add on to it.
But don't get me wrong, he also knows how to fight super soldiers and not kind of fucking break bones at the same time easily. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he was taking on the Flag Smashers head to head
Yeah.
like he didn't give a shit.
But I mean,
Whether
there's
Harley or any
still
of them.
we still technically don't know really if he does have some ceremony.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, we don't know if he was in an accident or something that was given
And I
to
mean,
him and he does.
That's
you know.
true. Because, I mean, in the source material, that one time he did get dragged in and got kind of.
And I think that would be
But I mean, in the final episode, he did say, I'm not doing this with serum. I'm out here just doing me.
But again, like I said, that's him not knowing that it happened to him.
Exactly.
So
So overall, you got 6 episodes. Disney Plus, I think, it's killing it with those. WandaVision is kind of, they've already announced that they're not going to do any kind of season 2
you
with
don't need to
WandaVision.
with her.
Yeah, I don't even think you needed that. But either way,
I think WandaVision was strictly just to set up her getting the Scarlet Witch so that there's no 30 minutes added to the new Doctor Strange film. I think it was just a way to
probably Disney Plus also testing the waters to see if people would keep up with it.
testing it, making money, getting people to have subscriptions. That's all it was. But I mean, it all worked out.
Overall, though, the last 6 episodes of the Falcon and Winter Soldier is some of the best, actual first season of TV that I've seen in quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and dig into let's give it a star rating. 6 episodes, the series. Craig, we'll start with you.
I know people might consider me Marvel biased, but I think it's a 10. I think the character development, the plot, setting up the future for the MCU, giving us something that was in a 6-week span, something that we looked forward to every week and delivered every single week. I think the issues that were in the film that they talked about and spoke about are real issues, and it was in the final episode. It was pretty much like a F you. Like, I'm Captain America. I understand you may not like it, but this is what it is, and you're gonna enjoy it. And people are going to enjoy it. Like Stan Lee had a video a couple years ago. He's like, it doesn't matter what religion, what race, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. We're all in one race, the human race, and we all need to stick together. So I think looking at what they're trying to show and deliver, spot on, 100%. I applaud them for it. So Anthony Mackie, I think you're going to deliver. You're going to do great. So 10 out of 10.
Zach?
I'm gonna give it a 9. I think it's obviously way a step better than WandaVision. Part of me, there was a lot of coworkers of mine that were upset that when I said that Friday's episode was the last, they're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, maybe we could get one more episode out of this, but I think you don't need to do a whole season of television in order to tell a story." I agree with you, Craig. I think Anthony Mackie's going to kill it as Captain America. And I applaud them for actually talking about race in this show.
Yeah.
I mean, we really haven't had this in the MCU, and I think they knocked it out of the park with that. So 9 out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8. I really, really enjoyed literally everything I could about the series. Small few nitpicks, but the really only nitpick that I had that is major is I want more.
Yeah.
And I wish it could have been a little bit longer, and I wish, with everything being in pre-production now, or in the development stages, which means we won't get maybe to see them unless they have some small, picks in some other movies. We really won't get to see them again for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But I applaud the whole thing. It kept me wanting more. It kept me looking forward to something. I'm going to give it an 8 for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Ed, what about you?
I'm going to go ahead and go with a 9 out of 10. Honestly, I think one of the bigger qualities that he's got right now is
Who?
Anthony Mackie as Sam. The speeches and how he's able to deliver a speech, as well as how he's able to talk to different people and go to the facts, the different things like, okay, yeah, you're set up for this, but these people showed you this, what you should be working on. Why aren't you? Kind of thing. It's not what, it's why, So, I mean, different little things like that just kind of prelude that. As long as his character is kind of shown to, the dude knows how to do the action and all that, but as well as, he knows how to deliver the speeches just like, Steve Rogers. So it makes it a lot easier of a transition for a new Cap, as well as now, the hand-picked successor is finally the real successor. So, I mean, and he's comfortable with it, so that's awesome. But the whole series, I mean, you kind of knew a few things that were coming, but definitely really put out there and really put it up very well, set the bar kind of high. So I guess what Loki's next.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
June.
Loki in
We'll
June.
And speaking of which, did you guys check out the Shang-Chi trailer
Yes.
for
Yeah,
September?
oh yeah.
It looks cool.
So you have Loki in June, Black Widow in July, and Loki or
Shang-Chi,
Shang-Chi
in September,
and
and Eternals in
is
November.
November.
So
And
It's like
then
a good year.
we got a lot of Marvel content coming up.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hey, feeling good, like I should.
Don't forget, guys, this episode is brought to you by Rodeo Cinema, located at 2221 Exchange Avenue, right here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Give them a call at 405-815-3275 or visit them at rodeocinema.org. Today is Oscar Sunday, so you can actually have a watch party and watch the Oscars right there tonight, right after this episode, 7 p.m. Go watch the Oscars at Rodeo Cinema. You want to check out The Sound of Metal. They're also playing that today, tomorrow the 26th, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 p.m. all week. You can check out The Sound of Metal this week. And then don't forget, tonight, right after this episode, check out the Oscars, April 25th, 6:30. It's a free screening, so if you want to go check out the Oscars on a big screen, go check it out. Admission is free, only at Rodeo Cinema.
Never stress. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Zach, let's get into some recent watches. Have you checked anything out that you'd want to recommend to anybody out there listening or any of the listeners?
Yeah. So I went back and I rewatched Godzilla vs Kong on HBO Max. We got I think about a week left before it's taken off.
Yep.
So definitely watch it there or go do what we did, go see it in the theater, which is meant to be seen that way.
How was the rewatch for you?
I like it a lot more, honestly. I think
Went
the
by
whole
faster, huh?
Yeah, the whole Millie Bobby Brown thing, I actually like the storyline a little bit better. And God, man, those action sequences in that movie are just incredible. Even on a 65-inch TV, they still work.
Oh yeah.
I started on the our little road to the Dwayne Johnson episode. Checked out Race to Witch Mountain, Rampage, Doom, Get Smart, The Game Plan, Moana, and then I checked out Best Picture nominee Promising Young Woman.
Let's talk about that. I talked.
Dude.
I was on my recent watches a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I threw it up on the Voodoo for you guys. And man, Promising Young Women, Zach. What did you think?
I loved it.
10 times better than Nomadland.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I basically had to go back and redo my top 5 plus 5, so it's like up to number 2. That's how much I love this movie. Second place.
Ice cold Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade, just in case we can get a sponsor.
No, I just think it really. I haven't seen a movie probably since Get Out, and in the idea of taking on a very serious subject matter, whether it be with like race with Get Out or in this one sexual harassment or rape, and turn it into like a Hitchcock thriller. And I thought it was like brilliantly well done.
It felt like an updated Hitchcock thriller.
Yes.
And I read into some of the reviews for 21.
Jump Street?
No, Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah, that.
I guess I read a lot of bad reviews about it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people hating it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. What's funny is that we've talked about it this year with the Oscars. If it wasn't a pandemic year, probably most of these films wouldn't even be nominated. Truthfully. So
true that.
But
we're going to talk about it later. We're going to give our full predictions, but let me just go ahead and name off the movies that are nominated for Best Picture: Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of Chicago 7, Minari, Mank, Judas and the Black Messiah, and The Father.
Yep.
So, anything you'd want to recommend then?
Yeah, definitely go check out Promising Young Woman. Like I said, it's nominated tonight for 5 Oscars. It's at the Red Box. Definitely, it'll be worth your time. I promise you.
For everybody here, it's on the Voodoo. Craig, what about you? What'd you check out?
The Voodoo. So in preparation for the
no alcohol.
New Mortal Kombat. Oh, hold on.
Get that sponsorship going. Here we go.
It's a Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade. Hit me up.
Please drink responsibly.
But yeah, so in preparation for the new Mortal Kombat, I wanted to go back and check out the 90s Mortal Kombats. So Mortal Kombat Annihilation, After watching those, I went into Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Hell yeah.
Also watched King Kong versus Godzilla with my parents. My dad was really into it. He enjoyed it.
Did you like it the second time around?
On the TV, like you said, it delivers in the theater and it delivers on the TV.
Yep.
So it was both really good both ways. I checked out Mortal Kombat for this episode. I tried to watch Street Fighter to try and compare it between Mortal Kombat.
You talking about the 90s one or the
Yeah, the 90s.
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah. I turned it off.
Really?
I was like,
I wanted to watch it, but I didn't get to.
I was like, maybe it was like I wasn't in the mood for it, but I know how bad it is. So I was like, I can do Mortal Kombat just because of the lore behind it. But I was like, I can't do Street Fighter. And then I also watched the rundown and prep for the Rock episode next week.
We'll kind of click into, we'll kind of all mix and mink in together. Annihilation. I was sitting there just waiting for it to end.
Yeah, the first Mortal Kombat, I can
Decent.
I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
The second, like you said, Annihilation is just like
If I would have rewatched that before our top 5 worst CGI films, that would have been.
that's why I put in Liu Kang, turning
was-
into the it was bad.
My recent watches list of let's see what we ended here. We ended last week with the Scorpion King. So I checked out Gridiron Gang, Platoon, The Game Plan, Race to Witch Mountain, Getting Ready for the Rock, Miss Congeniality, Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. I did not like that. That was my first watch in probably 10 years, and I didn't like it at all. Identity Theft, Mortal Kombat Legacy. I found that on Blu-ray, and it's only season 1, but it's 10 minutes an episode, and there's like 9 episodes. And that looked a lot better than Annihilation. It was pretty good.
Yeah, but wasn't it like 2009 or something like that?
What was it? It was 2019
or something.
2011 to 2012, the 2 seasons. Michael J. White was
Is it animation or was it?
It's live action.
Live action.
Then Zach, with you, I watched Get Smart. It was okay.
Yeah, that was my first watch of it. It was fine.
Yeah.
Get Smart. I enjoyed Get Smart, but again, I watched it whenever it came out, and I was young then.
Getting ready for the 20th anniversary of Shrek. I watched Shrek. Pitch Perfect 3 I thought was god awful.
I told you.
I know. You
I
told
said don't
me.
watch it. As much as I enjoyed Pitch Perfect 1, I despise Pitch Perfect 3.
And then I watched The Tooth Fairy, and my recommendation is Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage. It's about 89 minutes long, and he says one word in the entire movie. Just one of those weird Nicolas Cage grungy movies.
They're all grungy.
He plays a badass who drinks soda. Every time his watch goes off, he has to have a soda, and he gets cranked, and
diabetes.
He gets thrown into this Chuck E. Cheese kind of place.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
And he literally is in there, and he has to clean, but the creatures, the standy things that come alive, they eat people. So he's locked in there with them.
That sounds terrible.
He starts killing them, one by one as they come to life.
Sexy.
Yeah.
But speaking of Gridiron Gang,
watch Gridiron Gang.
X to the Z exhibit.
Yeah.
Like your Instagram post.
Yeah. So for everybody who does follow the Cinema Movie Podcast on Instagram, I'm getting ready to do some kind of giveaway, or it's just something to show that, thank you guys for all 1,600 of you guys that are following and participating in likes, comments. Willy's Wonderland today got almost 100 views and likes today, just for that one simple post. So it's amazing how many people are out there reaching out on Instagram. So thank you for that. But yeah, the exhibit post was for the Gridiron Gang last week.
Yep.
And the official Instagram of Exhibit, liked and followed the Cinema Movie Podcast. So go check it out.
That's pretty cool. If he's doing it, you got to do it too.
Yeah. Follow us. Ed, what about you? What have you recently watched other than Acid?
What the hell? Falcon and the Winter Soldier, of course, got to finish that. Still going on the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, for that matter.
How's that going for you?
Not too shabby. Bombay is not as much of a grumpy old hard ass anymore. They're trying to do a relationship between the main boy's mother and Bombay, so there's that. I feel like it's all right. It's kind of more of a nostalgia thing for me than that it's just like the greatest thing ever I've watched, but it's all right. Let's see. Then I watched Mortal Kombat 95, Annihilation 97, of course, and then Scorpion's Revenge, the animated flick.
Oh,
that
yeah,
you-
that's a
you
good
put
I
me
did.
onto.
I actually watched that as well. I forgot about that.
That's the more gory of the three.
That's
Well,
going to be the one that compares most.
Yeah, I was going to
besides the
say
video games.
the starting off story matched up pretty well with the live action.
Yeah.
The new one.
Yeah.
And then we're getting ready to talk into it. Out of those recent watches, what would you recommend, Ed?
Honestly, Scorpion's Revenge definitely, as well as the 95 Mortal Kombat, is really cheesy, but it's like a Philly cheesesteak. It's got its good parts and its bad parts.
It's almost as cheesy as that line that you used.
I know, right?
Get out.
I know, right? But yeah, no, definitely Scorpion's Revenge. That one is honestly pretty kick-ass. It even makes you feel for the character a little, or for the characters a little bit. So yeah, definitely check that one out.
Don't forget, guys, you can check us out on the social media, giveaways, votes, polls, on the Facebook page at facebook.com/movie reels, REELZ 405. Or the Twitter is at Cine-Men405, or just Facebook search the Cine-Men Movie Podcast and we pop right up. There you can also find links to all of our shows on Spotify, Anchor, Podbean, YouTube, now iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and FM radio as well. So check us out all over the Facebook page. The Instagram, if you want to watch all my recent watches, is one word, Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And then, Ed, how do they find the YouTube channel and the unboxing videos?
So go ahead and go to that facebook.com/movie reels 405. That will take you to the Facebook page. The Facebook page has a learn more button on there. That learn more button can transport you over to the actual YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has all the actual videos, audio, and it will even have upcoming unboxings and little things we might start doing here in the future, just to test the waters, kind of. However, yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and why not go ahead and hit that notification bell to be let know on every video we drop.
Oh, you didn't know?
Zach, let us know some things that we don't know about this 2021 Mortal Kombat.
So a couple things. In the movie, there's a scene where Cole walks past a photograph of Mortal Kombat, and he says, "Combat spelled incorrectly." In actuality, when the original '92 game was being developed, it was actually originally called Mortal Kombat with a C, but there was a difficulty in just securing the title for that. Video game designer Steve Ritchie suggested renaming the game to Mortal Kombat the way it's actually spelled, with creator Ed Boon observing that the strikingly misspelled title helped to draw attention to the game. And then I ran out of time, so I had to find one real quick. Hanzo Hasashi, thank you, uses a kunai weapon in his garden. The kunai was originally used by Japanese peasants as a multi-purpose gardening tool. Director Simon McQuad had to ask Joe Taslim to slow down a bit during the fight sequences, as he was moving too fast for the camera to capture the moves.
Those judo guys.
Right. And then the Red Band trailer has clocked in at 116 million views in its first week, becoming the biggest Red Band trailer of all time, beating out the 4-day mark of Logan and Deadpool 2. So
Nice.
Damn.
Yes, sir.
So basically, Mortal Kombat outdid Marvel movies.
On the Red Band trailer, that's pretty impressive. I don't care really what anybody says. So guys, don't forget that this episode is also brought to you guys by San Marcos Mexican Restaurant, located at 2309 Southwest 59th Street, right here in Oklahoma City. It's the OG, the original San Marcos, so go visit them. Great service, even better food, and they have $5 Margarita Wednesdays. If you need something to help you get through the week, margaritas, $5 Wednesdays.
And then 10% off if you mention the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
10% off. All you have to do is mention this little old podcast. You get 10% off of your meal. The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And we also give away certificates. You can eat there for free, $25. Just follow us on Facebook and see how. And then they have $6.99 lunch specials all day, Monday through Friday, all day. You can enjoy that special, whether it's burritos, taco salads, chimichangas, tamales, or burrito dinners.
I mean, what more do you need?
You don't need any more.
Just go there one day out of the week and you get something different. That's your meal plan right there.
That's my 5-day week meal plan. That's my meal prep for the week. $6.99, and then I get double fed for the margaritas on Wednesdays.
Yeah, liquid diet.
Liquid diet. There you go. That's frozen or on the rocks. Again, don't forget to tell them that we sent you. San Marcos, the official Mexican restaurant of the Cine-Men movie podcast.
I was like, not my Luke game.
All right, guys, don't forget, check out our friends over at Friday the 14th podcast. Their latest episode is all about the faculty, and you can go over there and join. Franco and Manny aren't in this episode, but join Nick, H, and Mr. Fuentes as they talk Friday the 14th podcast. They talk all about the faculty. Craig, that's a movie that you wanted to hear them talk about, and I think they go listen to them over there. They do it justice.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't have time to check it out when I saw the post, but I was definitely going to go back and check it out. I saw their rating. I somewhat agree with it. I mean, it would be a 5 out of 10 on our scale, so I just kind of want to see how they break it down.
Yeah, it's always fun listening to them. Man, horror movies, and they're going to every week. So now they used to be every other week. Now they're going to every Wednesday. Check them out. They just dropped this past Wednesday of their episode of The Faculty. So they should be getting ready to drop another movie this coming Wednesday, the 28th. Go check them out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Friday the 14th podcast. Listen to them now. You can also find the links over on our page. Go check it out as they review The Faculty.
They're whispering his name through the stand.
All right, guys, let's talk about our top 5. This week, we are talking our top 5 movies based off of video games, since it's all about Mortal Kombat. Does anybody have any honorable mentions they want to get off their chest before we go?
I got 3.
I got a few. Zach, go ahead and rapid fire through yours.
Hitman Agent 47 from 2015,
Oof.
Detective Pikachu from 2018, and Mortal Kombat for today.
Man.
Angry Birds movie. And,
Hell yeah.
Tomb Raider.
Mine is going to be Angry Birds from 2016, and then Zach, I'm going to say Hitman, but Hitman from 2007 with
Timothy
Olyphant. Yeah. Let's start off with number 5.
5.
Zach, let's start off with you, sir. What is your number 5?
So my number 5 is, we're probably gonna have at least one of the films in this franchise. I'm gonna do number 5, Resident Evil Afterlife from 2010. I thought that one kind of went back to the basics of what Resident Evil was. You know, it's just basically monster fighting, hunting, and zombies and all that. I thought it had some cool graphics. I just thought it was kind of like a refreshing just where we were in the Resident Evil franchise, because next was Retribution and then the final chapter. But I enjoyed it. So I think I saw it in 3D and it had some really cool 3D effects.
Is Afterlife the one where they're in the building with all the people and they meet Leon?
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so.
Now, this is our favorite. We could turn this around and do worse, but yeah, no, this is going to be favorite video game movies. And I'm not a big video gamer, honestly. Yeah. But
I think video game films have a bad rap.
They do. But
Johnny tells me, dude, I get headaches playing those games.
I do. I don't get it's the first person view, right? Like the Call of Duty, yeah. Those ones kind of make me a little queasy. But like other than that, I mean, yeah, I don't compare and contrast. So Ed, you and Craig might play a little bit more than I do, but I'm definitely not comparing these movies to video games. Almost like a few weeks ago or months ago when we did like our top 5 movies based off of like graphic novels, kind of like that. So, Craig, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is going to be Silent Hill. Went and saw this in the theater back in 06, 07 when it came out. I enjoy the games, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I think they kind of stopped it after that. They did have one for the PS Vita. But yeah, I enjoy them. It's just a spooky atmosphere. It's set up for spooky. Even though I feel like Silent Hill Revelations
Sucks.
matches the game better,
No.
I do like the original Silent Hill movie better. So I'm just going to go Silent Hill, number 5.
My number 5 is going to be. I've said it numerous times. I'm a big Marky Mark fan. I love Mark Wahlberg to death.
Oh, fucking A.
A lot of his movies are
Transformers?
No.
A lot of his movies are really fun. I like Mark Wahlberg a lot, but mine is going to be Max Payne from 2008 with Mila Kunis. Ludacris is in there, but really, it's just I saw this. Craig, this might have been a movie that we went and saw like at a dollar movie. We
No, I
snuck
didn't.
in.
I didn't see it.
No?
I saw it on like Stars or something when it was free for me. But yeah, that's the only time I saw it.
I snuck in and saw it in a dollar movie. I think I liked it from the beginning. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but
I honestly don't remember anything from that movie.
So
I'm honestly gonna probably try to rewatch it this week. But
And then say it sucks.
You're gonna watch it and be like, "This is dog shit."
Well, from what I remember though, it does feel like a old.
It feels like the
Nor-
video game.
Yeah, it feels like. Well, I've never played the video game,
oh my god.
so it feels like an old Nor.
Noir type feel.
Yeah.
Where it's like
I
black
mean,
and
that-
white.
Yeah,
Kind of like the Sin City vibe.
kind of. Yeah, it has
Yeah.
a big Sin City vibe. So
Yeah.
that's my number 5 is Max Payne from 2008. Ed, what about you?
Well, I'll touch on Max Payne for a second. It's
Oh, yeah?
not my number 5.
Oh yeah, touch on it.
Touch
but,
Max Payne.
I actually used to have the video game back in like 03 or 04 or something like that, not too long after it came out, and I was a kid back then. And you're going to talk about it definitely was rated in for mature, but you're going to talk about a bad video game. Like, this was a little worse than GTA to a point, because literally to go
Like
ahead
it was bad.
Oh,
Like you didn't
yeah.
enjoy it.
The way
no, it
the
was a
visuals
good
on it.
game, but the things you had to do in game and all that, like
Yeah.
if you were hurt, you were taking painkillers. Is
Oh,
literally
yeah.
what they called, or
He does that in the
shots and
movie.
shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of the
It was
game
like-
mixed up with the movie kind of well.
It was like The
but
Matrix and True Crime Streets of LA, but hardcore.
Yeah.
It makes me want to watch it today.
So I mean,
He's like,
and you want to talk
Hardcore
about
drugs?
you want to talk. You want to talk about a trippy ass video game? That one, literally, like you'd be going and all of a sudden you'd get to a cutscene and it'd make you do like he was drunk and high at the same
Yeah.
time and all that shit. So it was a little weird.
What do you have at number 5, Ed?
Number going on my number 5. I'm gonna actually go ahead and hit a
That's all
nostalgia reason for this. Pokemon the first movie. Back when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Pokemon, like a lot of kids back in the late '90s, early 2000s. And my great grandmother actually even made me a blanket or a quilt way back then. I think I still got it actually. But yeah, that one was really cool. Back when I was a kid, I've watched it probably a couple years ago, and I mean, it lost a lot of its quality, I guess, just because it didn't really have much to begin with. But it does have a few emotional things into it. So I mean, there's that. But nostalgia is about the best thing to watch it for.
Zach, what do you have at number 4, sir?
Number 4, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this movie next week. But number 4 is Doom from 2005. Truthfully, I have played the Doom video game, and it is exactly what this movie is, and especially, the whole towards the end of the movie where the first-person Carl Urban sequence is actually really well done. I think the
He doesn't get enough credit for that movie.
No. And I think the monster effects actually look really well done. It's actually more practical. It's not all visual effects and everything. The problem with this movie, my only nit grit, is that, like, I guess the contrast of it is, like, so, like, lowered. And so, like, it's so in certain scenes it's so damn dark you can't even tell what's going on.
It's also really grainy.
Yeah, it's
They
very
didn't
grainy.
They didn't clean it up at all.
No.
I have never seen it,
Okay.
so
Are you gonna watch it before next week?
probably not.
Give it a shot.
It's on Netflix.
Give it a shot.
It's on Netflix. So
I remember my brother. So my brother went to China back in like 2005, 6 for Chinese exchange student program, and he came back with like 80 bootleg DVDs, and this was one of them. I could never.
Came back with a bride.
I could
and
never
King
get
Kong
into
was
that.
one of them. I
Yeah,
remember that.
Peter Jackson's King Kong,
Yeah.
Doom. List goes on and on. But it was one of them, and I just never could get into it. So
Craig, what do you have at number 4?
number 4 for me is going to be the original Resident Evil. I know it doesn't follow the video games. Again, I'm not comparing it that way. You know, it's just one of the things that I kind of look at. It doesn't follow it too much, especially since Alice is, sort of the, it's not Jill Valentine. It's not, they add them later in the film, but I think for the name and the title, The Zombies, it's just a badass opening film. So it's my number 4.
Craig, you had it in your list. My number 4 is going to be Silent Hill from 2006. It really should probably be higher on my list, but it's such a badass dark film. My only gripe about it and why it's a little lower is the rewatch. I haven't rewatched it since the latest one came out, but it's a little girthy. It's like 2 hours, and I feel like a horror movie does not need to be 2 hours.
Well, but it's not just a horror movie. If you know about the video games, it touches on a lot of the aspects of the video game. So,
and then Sean Bean. I hate Sean Bean. I don't like Sean Bean at all.
It's one of the few movies he doesn't die. So
Too bad.
no, actually,
well,
it's debatable.
yeah.
It's true. My number 4, Silent Hill from 2006. Ed, what do you have at number 4?
Touch on it.
Touch it.
The fuck is wrong with y'all, dude? Number 4, I'm going to go ahead and go with Zach and Line Doom here. The Rock was basically the best part of that movie easily. I said just the best. I didn't say he was great in it.
He's not the best.
The ending was the best. Oh,
But yeah, it was.
What is Carl Urban never? He doesn't get enough love for this movie. Why is that? To me, he is clearly the best part of Doom. And we might talk about it next week, but I mean,
please don't do an episode on it.
No, but I feel like he's really just. When I rewatched it last week, I was thinking, kind of the same thing. Like The Rock is gonna probably knock it out. Oh, it'll be like Scorpion King, but no, like Carl Urban just fucking stole the show. Yeah, he's pretty good. Go, my bad.
No, you're good. I was basically done. So.
Zach, what do you have at number 3, sir?
Number 3 is going to be a reboot, I guess you would say, of a video game franchise from 2018, Tomb Raider with Alicia Vikander. I thought that one was a really well done, just an action adventure film per se. It's actually there are certain moments from the games that they actually recreate, like her on the plane that's about to fall down the waterfall or whatever, which I thought was really well done. And Alicia Vikander got a lot of slack for she doesn't look like Lara Croft in the game, but she's a very good actress, and so I'd rather take the actress side than the video game side.
And that's kind of debatable because they made a video game and she looks exactly like the new video game character.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people was drawn to her her portrayal of that character.
Yeah, I'd say it's a damn video game. They can change the character up.
But I mean, that's when you make a movie, you try to go at least have some representation of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Hey, motherfucker.
Which is your number 3, right?
Yes. Going.
Speaking of number 3, Craig, what do you have at number 3?
My number 3 is going to be Pokemon 2000. Growing up playing Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Stadium, and then being able to see this on, even watching the cartoon, and then being able to see this. I didn't see it in theaters, but having it a part of the big screen cinema, where you could watch it on technically the big screen. I thought it was a great film. It's everything you want a Pokemon movie to be. It has Mewtwo at the end. If I'm thinking about the right one, right? Mewtwo
I think you're thinking about if it had Mew in it.
Mew.
You're thinking of the Pokemon the first movie.
That's.
The
I'm
one-
sorry.
Talk about the one with Ryan Reynolds?
Pokemon. No, Pokemon the first movie. I'm sorry. Yes, Pokemon the first movie, not 2000.
Yeah.
With Mew at the end, and it's like I said, it was just the first one to come out, and it was big screen edition of Pokemon. So I thought it was great.
Because you're talking about when they all had like evil. Ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Pokemon the first.
Yeah.
Movie.
And I was looking at it, I was like, which one? And
No, yeah, trust me, I know. There's been like
Do you remember-
65 of them.
Do you remember going to the theater and they gave you like a free Pokemon card?
Yeah.
You saw it in the
I
theater.
know I was so jealous of people that came to school the next day with it.
They
They were
had the
like, "Yeah, I
card."
went to the theater." And I'm like,
Yeah.
my parents won't do that. F you. So
Beat the kids.
that's another reason why. That's another reason
Told you
why.
it hits kids.
No, you were the shit if you had the holographic edition or special edition or whatever of those cards back then.
Well, yeah, and now you're
You know?
rich.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
have
I
it.
know. Like the holographic Charizard original
Like,
edition is like 20 grand or
You,
something.
you were the cool kid back then, and now you're just rich. So
Exactly.
Yeah, but
I
don't
was-
get me wrong.
I was-
How many of those cards are actually in good condition / mint condition? Like those kids fucked them cards up.
Yeah. I blame my parents for me not being rich at the moment. So
Damn.
they sold all my shit.
Well,
Oh, shit.
I'll
It just
go
got-
ahead.
It just got really sad all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We'll take a pause from you guys talking about Digimon, and I'm gonna go ahead.
Hey,
My bad.
Okay, you just got like 20 hate mails right now.
Right there.
It's all the same cards.
oh my god.
Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh!
You guys can send hate mail at cinemen921@gmail.com. No,
We
My-
love you.
No,
all.
his personal email.
yeah, that is my personal. My no, it's not. Silent awkward. My number 3 is gonna be Mortal Kombat from 1995. Cheesy, yes, but it's what got me started on Mortal Kombat. As soon as I got done watching that, it started me on the video games. Mortal Kombat 4 was my first Mortal Kombat video game. Then Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero came out right after that, and it was just a whole Mortal Kombat game based off of Sub-Zero's character. So, to me, that movie is what started for me for Mortal Kombat series and franchise and anything else. So,
And I think it was one of the
better ones.
even today. It's
Yeah.
still one of the best video game adaptations of it.
It's cheesy. It's cheesy, but the guy who played Shang Tsung, fucking iconic.
Yeah.
Even the guy who plays him in this new one that we're getting ready to talk about, I mean, he's still, to me, didn't live up to
It's the guy from Dark Knight.
Yeah, I know.
And what I know a pig when I see one.
Yeah. So, but no, that's my number 3 is Mortal Kombat from 1985. Ed, what do you have at number 3?
Number 3, I kind of thought this was cool. Never really been a part of this, I don't know, world. So there's that, because I've never played the video game, but Warcraft. Kind of, I thought it better than a lot of people will think, don't get me wrong, and I know we're probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but at the same time, I thought it was kind of a cool little adaptation. Like I said, never played the video game, so there you go. But
Was it a role playing board game before a video game?
No, it's a MMORPG
yeah.
on
okay.
PC.
I thought it was one of those games where you like dress up and like
No, you're
play
thinking
in the
Dungeons and Dragons.
same shit.
I mean,
Pretty much.
kinda.
You got elves, warlocks.
We just got like
sorcerers.
50 more emails.
Oh no.
If they know how,
Very well
I'm
worded.
just I'm gonna stop right there. So
But it's the same stuff that they play in The Big Bang Theory, right? Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
think they've done both.
they've
of
done
them,
both.
Actually.
I think Warcraft has different variations of it. So
Yeah.
you
The
may
creep-
not
like,
be wrong.
They look like the creatures from Small Soldiers.
Like
The
a,
Gorgonites?
like a lot of people will actually probably tell us that Skyrim is kind of like a small time ripoff of.
We went
War
and
of
saw
the Worlds.
Warcraft.
We
didn't
did at the Harkins.
in 3D, and it
I
kind
was
of
not. Yeah,
made me sick.
that's why it didn't make my list.
I need to rewatch it then because I haven't seen it since that release.
Doesn't it have what's the name from Wanted and
Wait.
No, it's got my favorite actor in it. From Hell or High Water, Ben
Oh,
Foster.
Ben Foster. So, yeah. So it's like an automatic 10 for him.
Fuck yeah.
Ben Foster is fucking amazing.
But yeah.
Maybe that's who we should do our next profile piece on.
It would just you be jizzing for like
Yeah.
2 hours.
Ben Foster. I'm surprised since Ben Foster's not in it, it's not higher grade for you. It should be like number 1. Warcraft. Ed's
See, I
number
even
3.
forgot the name.
You just we're just sitting here talking about it. You
I
don't even
know.
remember.
But yeah,
Like,
did you go see it in theaters or how did you check it out?
No, it was on streaming at one point in time. I just kind of one night bored as shit and just wanted something new to watch that I've never really been a part of.
Did you watch it since the podcast or before podcast?
I've watched it 2 or 3 times, yeah.
Nice.
Since the podcast, for that matter. Since we've started it, for that matter. But yeah.
Number 3 is Warcraft.
Yes, sir.
Man, we're getting down already. Number 2, Zach, what do you have?
Number 2 is another film we're going to be talking about next week, Rampage. Honestly, it is what it is. It's set up to do exactly what it was supposed to do: monsters and blow shit up. That's all you need. That's all anyone wanted from that movie. So
my first initial watch was pretty good. I'll probably rewatch it this week. So yeah.
George is like fucking King Kong's little bitch, basically.
And then you get like the wolf can fly and some alligator creatures. So
and The Rock.
Did you ever play Rampage?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was it on?
PlayStation, I believe.
Arcade and all
It was like
that,
arcade.
of
It
course.
was more of an arcade style. It was on Game.
It was on. It
N64.
transferred over to Game Boy and
Yeah, it was on
GameCube and all that.
N64.
Yeah.
What did you do?
You just walk down the street. It was
Blow.
2D like Ninja Turtles. You walk down the street, climb up a tower, and you fucking
blow. Yeah, you blow it up
you
basically.
take women out of the
like Wreck-It Ralph.
Kinda.
Kind of a little bit. Yeah.
But like the more destruction you did, the more points you got.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is your number 2, Craig?
My number 2 is actually going to be Detective Pikachu. I was really iffy about it. I was hyped to see a live action Pokemon film, and then the more and more it raged on, I was like, oh, don't really want to watch it. Never went and saw it in theater. But then I think you got it, and it was on Vudu, or I borrowed it and I watched it, and I loved it. I thought Ryan Reynolds surprisingly was a good Pikachu voice.
Yeah. Even though he didn't really have a voice, right?
Right, but in the film, he could. The kid can understand him. So, it was funny. It had good parts. It had a good storyline. So yeah, it's my number 2.
Number 2 for me is going to be Resident Evil 2 Apocalypse from 2004. The first one was good. I kind of like all the Resident Evil films, but the second one to me just pops out, and there's more gore. It's more of an action kick-ass movie than a horror/video game movie. So to me, I enjoyed a lot more than the other ones, at least until I like the last one too.
They're all good in their own right. It just kind of
it's not what people wanted.
Right. Like it. I mean, you go back and if you've played the video games, you know why people don't really like the films. But again, like I said, it's Resident Evil. It's zombies. It's Umbrella. You don't
Shooting
really
some
have to
people up.
follow
Yeah.
the video game for that,
But that's my number 2 is Resident Evil 2 Apocalypse. Ed, what do you have at number 2?
At number 2, I'm going to actually go ahead and align with Craig on this. Detective Pikachu. Nostalgia point of view, basically, as well. Gone through and then kind of got surprised for that matter. The story was nice. It wasn't it wasn't the best story I've ever seen, but it definitely was good. The characters I thought were kind of portrayed pretty well. I like, or not portrayed, but made up pretty well. I thought the computer graphics were cool, and yeah, you could tell they were 100% computer graphics, but at the same time, it's kind of cool that it was meant to be like that.
And then it had the kid that you want to play Miles Morales in it.
Yeah.
he would
Justin
be a
Smith,
good Miles Morales.
For some reason, like once I seen that, I was like, dude, fucking Miles right there. I was like, I don't know why, but this kid just screams that.
Even though he's not Mexican.
He doesn't really necessarily have to be, but I mean,
Technically his mom's Mexican, so he's only like part.
But still.
But the
But
Mr.
either way.
Mime part in that film
Fucking
had me
ridiculous.
like laughing.
The platypus?
Mr. Mime, where
Mr.
he's
Mime.
like on the bike, acting like he's on the
yeah,
bike.
yeah.
He's like, ah.
Fucking,
We almost did an episode over that movie.
yeah.
We should.
Yeah.
I'd
But
enjoy it.
the twist at the end of it, I kind of seen coming a little bit ahead of time. But yeah, definitely kind of a good movie, good plot and all that. So yeah.
Zach, what is your favorite movie based off a video game?
Number 1, I've only seen twice in its entirety. First time in the theater, second time actually about a year ago, I believe. Need for Speed from 2014.
Oh god.
With Jesse Pinkman.
Yep. And that's kind of like why I was kind of excited about it. It was like a
And
post
Imaging
Breaking
Boots.
Bad. Yeah.
Mm.
Post Breaking Bad, just to see what he was going to do. Yeah, not the best movie, but I mean, like I said, it set out to do what it wanted to do, which is a racing game, and it raced wasn't it from like one side of the country to the other or whatever?
Yeah, I feel like he didn't get enough chances after Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I feel like he really could still.
He kind of like got the short end of the stick, basically.
And this is going back to Willy's Wonderland, but I need somebody to hashtag put Nicolas Cage in a fucking John Wick movie. I don't care what he is. I don't care if he's a bad guy or what, but he needs to be in a John Wick movie. Because Nicolas Cage is a badass.
Fucking Con Air. Give him some long hair, you know?
Nicolas Cage versus Keanu Reeves, or just Nicolas Cage in that kind of an environment.
Nicolas Cage and Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Just put him in a Marvel film. Oh, wait, he was.
Yeah.
And it was ass.
It was a Marvel Knights movie. That was pre-Kevin Feige.
Legacy? Marvel Legacy films?
Pre-Kevin Feige. But yeah,
if he was in a Marvel film today, what would you like to see him?
Fucking Ghost Rider. There you go.
You know what I'd like to see him do? If he was in a Marvel movie,
like what franchise?
Let him voice Howard the Duck. Let him voice Howard the fucking Duck.
So in the Guardians universe.
Yes.
That would be.
That makes sense.
I can see that.
That makes sense.
As Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Because he's got that real cool motherfucker.
What do you let him look you like that for?
And see, no, that Howard the Duck voice needs to go fucking die. The Howard the Duck voice at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, terrible.
Wasn't that Seth Green?
I don't know. Seth Green's terrible.
I'm certain that was Seth Green.
It wasn't him, so.
Craig, what do you have at number one? What's your favorite video game movie?
It's not Nicolas Cage. He doesn't want it anymore. My number one is going to be the new Mortal Kombat film. I think it's, there are some things that I don't like about it, but I do thoroughly enjoy the way that it's heading. I think Sub-Zero signed on for 4 more films. If I'm not mistaken, or is it Sub-Zero or Cole Young? One of the two were signed on for 4 more films.
Co.
And
oh baby, Co.
I think the adaptation of it, the fighting, the acting might not have been the best, but again, it's a fighting film. And of course, it's going to be cheesy. What video game movie isn't? But the direction it's going, I think it has a lot of potential. So I'm going to say the new Mortal Kombat movie.
Nice. I just hope it makes money, or else
it won't happen.
Yeah. My number one is going to be Tomb Raider, Zach, from 2018. I think that just has the perfect video game feel to it. It literally has the just going off of the video game. I think it came out between the first and second video game, right?
What's up?
Right, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider came out between the 2016
one.
Yeah,
it was between the two.
Yeah. Like the very first one for PS4.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And it was I think she knocked it out of the park. Everybody wants to put Angelina Jolie up on a pedestal and say that that's the best video game movie ever. That's the best Tomb Raider. No, go sit down. Go back to the early 2000s and take that gone awful shit with you. And 2018's Tomb Raider is the beginning of the end for bad video game movies. My number one. Ed, what do you have at number one?
Honestly, it was. This is a game that was created for a failed console, Sega Genesis.
Sonic
the Hedgehog. I've got to say, I liked it personally. I thought it.
The one with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there other Sonic movies?
There's like other animated movies,
yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. So yeah, definitely with this one, I thought it did actually have some good acting and all that. I thought it did actually, serve a good purpose, as well as just overall had a nice feel. And when you have an entire community go ahead and fucking bully you, and then you actually fucking take a shit ton of money and redo that entire character throughout the entire fucking film.
Well, they did it with Cats. And they did that for everybody. And the movie was still ass.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong.
That movie was going to be ass anyway.
When you do better at it than you did before, that's fan service right there. That's literally saying, you know what?
It wasn't hard to do better than what they were going to put out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got to respect that, because literally they could have said, you know what? Either you like it or you fucking don't.
And then they would have lost a lot of money.
Very true.
They made more money by redoing it.
Very true. But at the same time, that just shows, hey, we'll do it. All right, cool.
And Jim Carrey's really good in the movie, actually.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I liked the movie, and then I thought it was good.
I said he
acting.
was I said he was the best part.
But as well, them actually listening to the fan base paid off. So yeah.
And they are doing a second movie with Knuckles.
Yes, they are. And I've heard there's some leaks around there showing Knuckles already.
Yeah.
So
I
They
just
have
don't like
stand-up
James
mannequin.
Madison in it.
James-
Martison.
James Marsden.
Yeah, he's
What, Cyclops?
Yeah, he's terrible.
He actually has, people have thrown around the joke that he needs to do the psych evaluation because he's always in films that have CGI characters that he's talking to in cars and shit.
He's in another
With,
one too that coming out soon, isn't he? Isn't he in Peter Rabbit 2?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's another one to add to the list.
Next week, guys, play along with our top 5 as we talk our top 5 plus 5 Dwayne Johnson movies next week, right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. But first, This week, guys, we are talking Mortal Kombat, just released April the 16th, 2021. We wanted to release this a day early for you since everybody's talking about it. It's trending. Mortal Kombat 2021. It's got a certain feel to it. It's different. We're going to definitely dive right into it. It's 55% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.5 on IMDb, and a 44% Metascore. With a $50 million budget right now on its 3-day opening weekend, it's at $10 million. You can thank probably the pandemic and HBO Max for that, but let's dig into it, guys. Mortal Kombat just released, spoiler heavy. We're at an hour and 6 minutes into the episode, so go back and check it out either in theaters or HBO Max, and then come back right over and listen to our episode. Guys, they released the first 7 minutes, 24 hours before the movie came out.
They released it on
Tuesday. My bad, 48 hours before the movie came out. It stars Louis Tan as Cole Young, Jessica McNee as McNee as Sonya Blade, Josh Lawson as Kano, Joe Taslim as Ben High, directed by Simon McQuoid. First 7 minutes, guys. What do you think?
I watched it. I thought it was pretty cool, kind of playing into Japanese true culture back in the day. I guess I kind of thought it was cool with the aesthetics and all that. And then all of a sudden, the fight scene started between Scorpion essentially and
Bihan and
Bihan's
Hasashi.
nemesis.
Well, in a short little review, Ed, what did you think of the first initial watch?
I was ready for it because I honestly thought, like, if this is the beginning of it, I can't wait for the other shit when they start, like, showing powers and, different shit like that other than just Sub-Zeros for that matter, or Bihan for that matter. Just because, like, if this is, okay, with Joe Taslim, he's a judo champion.
No, like, what did you think on your first, short little review of the watch?
That's what I'm saying. With Joe Taslim, he was a judo champion, so it was actually really cool to see a guy who knew actually how to fight. Going, yeah. So I mean that I've got to say, maybe he's not the best actor, but I can definitely appreciate his skill. So,
Craig, we'll go with you next. What did you think? First little short review before we dig into it.
Well, I was giving my daughter a bath when the little banner dropped down saying it was released 7 minutes early. So I finished up the bath, texted you guys. I was like, it's out 7 minutes. And I watched it, and I couldn't wait for Friday. So,
Zach?
So I'm coming to this like completely new. I haven't seen any the two films that you guys were talking about, the 95 or Annihilation.
you didn't watch them?
yeah, what the fuck?
I told you.
No.
What? Also
Why?
fresh in off the video game too, right?
Right.
So,
So
your first initial watch.
I thought it was fine.
Oh
Honestly,
my God.
I thought it was fine.
Of the 7 minutes?
I didn't. No. Well, I probably could have watched the 7 minutes and be like, I'm good. But like,
Okay,
it's fine.
Okay.
Zach just don't like it.
I enjoyed, owning and playing a bunch of the video games, the 2 movies, the animated features, the legacy. I'm kind of still kind of hung up on just mixed in, I went in excited, but not overly excited because I didn't want to overwhelm myself because I had just got done watching Annihilation. So my expectation bar was
Low.
low.
Fucking
Um,
3 out of 10 expectations.
Yeah, 3. I gave Annihilation a fucking 3. But you know what? Honestly, we're gonna talk about it. My first initial watch was more than it's fine. I was hyped at the end, but my overall feel of the movie was just not what I wanted it to be. And we'll talk about it. And that's just me being a movie fan. Now, if I'm wanting blood, guts, action, and a Mortal Kombat movie not based on the video game, then this movie was a 9 out of 10. But that's not what I was looking for. And we're going to talk about it.
All right, let's talk about it.
Oh, shit.
I enjoyed the opening scene. Obviously, we come to find out that it's Scorpion, Sub-Zero throughout the movie. You don't see Scorpion other than his family dies, and you don't really see him again until the ending, which I'm fine with that. I would have been fine if you only saw Sub-Zero for like that much time too. Let's get it all out. Let's get the bitching over. My biggest, and we'll kind of go 50-50 because that's how this episode feels. I enjoyed introducing the new character. I saw a review that was like, oh yay, they reintroduced a new character that you're gonna have to pay $60 for on Mortal Kombat to download him on the video game because they charge,
Which character is that?
Cole Young?
Cole Young.
Yeah. Because Cole Young was made specifically for this movie.
Yeah.
He's never been a video game.
Nope, never been a
Yeah,
video game
okay.
character.
When you said reintroduce,
No, I
thought you
said
meant-
introduced. Did I
Oh.
say introduced? I'm not sure. But no, they introduced him, and I don't know, man. I really felt like the only actor that I liked in this movie was Josh Lawson as Kano. And even then, I felt like his comedy was overly done and a little too over the top.
I mean, he seemed like the aggressive side was good and all that, but yeah, it did kind of.
But I did like how they teased him to be a
Good guy.
but yet at the end, I knew it coming, and it felt a little too
Because
predictable.
I was sitting there watching, I was like, I could have swore Kano was a bad guy.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay, so you guys, since you guys are you've seen all the movies, you played the games, was this adaptation probably the closest as to what the games are
No.
and what the characters are?
No. This adaptation to me was what the fight scenes in the video game is.
yes,
That's what people wanted.
Right.
People wanted the brutality of the fight scenes from the video games, and they wanted those fatality deaths. Other than that, the story is kind of,
I think it's new.
it's a new story.
It's still the plot of it is still essentially the same. There's a tournament of champions, or
Supposed to be a
protectors.
tournament. Yeah.
And well, I mean,
In all the other movies and video games, Mortal Kombat is essentially, Raiden and the humans have lost like 9 in a row, and they have to win the 10th one in order for Underworld not to invade Earth.
because essentially the rules are once you reach 10 wins in a row, the opposition is deemed like unworthy, so you can take over and you can conquer it.
So let me go ahead and read this, just in case nobody is familiar with the video games. MMA fighter, well, this has nothing to do with the video games either, but MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle of the universe.
And even that's sort of wrong.
It is.
He doesn't seek out anybody.
He doesn't seek out anybody. He also doesn't.
the only
Raiden
time.
finally has his fighters, and you still don't see a fucking tournament. The tournament never begins.
No, not yet.
Well, but
'cause I think they're waiting on the sequel to at least start that.
I understand that point,
No.
but
like, so here, like, you can't
Because-
just throw in the first movie, oh, let's do the tournament and hope that it hits, and then what are we going to do from there on out?
what if this movie doesn't have a sequel?
That's true.
Even if this movie, Mortal Kombat wasn't the greatest, and they still put out Annihilation.
Yeah,
All right.
but it made a lot of money though for its time being, and I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, so the sequel probably will get greenlit just because we're in a pandemic and they'll take those numbers. But
Yeah.
there still is a slight off chance that you don't get a sequel. It's not greenlit before maybe it'll change in a month, but right now there's no.
So even the character Liu Kang said probably a couple days before they all fought each other, basically that we have a full moon we will not see another full moon by the time the tournament starts.
Yeah, and in the movie it was only like a couple days.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 days tops.
I did earlier. I kind of talked shit on Chen Han as Shang Tsung. I thought he was fine. I liked him.
He was one of the better parts for the character's sake, I guess.
Every time I saw him, I kept thinking back to
the original.
And that's not his fault. That's just how I see him.
Sissy Stringer that played Melina, I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought Melina was a good casting, good character.
I was happy they didn't sexualize her. I was happy they did just made her an like a badass kind of assassin type of thing. I was happy they didn't just hey, she's eye candy.
Is she the one that has her jaws detached? Yeah. Well, that would have gotten a lot of slack.
Well,
if they had sexualized her like in the game.
I was about to say, it was kind of just hopefully they don't do some certain things like that. And I mean, Sonya Blade, you can imagine her as some G.I. Jane kind of, whatever have you, and Melina.
Well, so if you had watched the '95 Mortal Kombat, you know exactly what we're talking about with Sonya. It's nothing but a white tank top.
Basically.
So Sonya. She's actually a player, a game player.
Yes.
All these guys in this movie are game
except for Cole.
Except for
Cole. That's it.
Because I remember I have played moments of Mortal Kombat. The only one I really remember was the guy with the forearms.
Goro.
So
and I mean,
that's my other biggest.
Kung Lao. What did y'all feel about Kung Lao? I thought he was probably the best iteration not iteration.
He's the only iteration they've had live action.
Yeah.
They talked about him in '95 in the '95 film, but he never showed.
But I mean, in this, he definitely was I'm here, I know I'm the best kind of guy. He
which is what I figured Liu Kang should have been.
Well, I think you only feel that way because the original 2 movies, it's all based around him.
Yeah.
This movie is based around a nobody that nobody even has heard of, and then supposedly, Raiden.
Well, it's based around the Scorpion bloodline.
True, which I do like. I do enjoy how they brought that into the play.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's not some just random chosen one.
Yeah.
And with Liu Kang, they kind of he said that he was basically a stray dog in the gutter. Basically, he was just found as an orphan, and Kung Lao was the golden boy. And all that. Now
Raiden
it's kind of and even he got upset when things happened later on in the movie.
What'd you think of Nathan Jones? Nathan Jones is in this. No, he's Rico. I am Nathan.
Oh, yeah, Rico.
And then I liked Cabal.
Yeah, Cabal was cool.
He was funny. I liked the little iterations between him and Kano. And he kind of brought Kano over to dude, you can make more money than what you could ever think of.
I like the fact that Kano and Cabal had a previous history. I like the fact that they're showing that there's more to it than just.
With this movie being 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes, really about an hour and 45 after credits, do you wish that you would have had a little bit more backstory, or do you think they told enough backstory? Because there's a lot of characters that they brought up into this movie.
I mean, I think they're basing the fact that Mortal Kombat's been out since '92.
That's true.
A lot of people should know some of the storylines.
But let's talk to somebody who doesn't.
I know, but that's...
I'm going to get 5 emails saying I'm a fucking idiot.
No, because that's what a lot of the mixed reviews are on IMDb, and we have emails right here that I'm going to get into later.
Because a lot of these people are coming in saying, oh, Mortal Kombat, I know that's a massive video game.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's take a look.
I have to see it.
We're in a next generation to where people were born in '95 and 2000, and they're 18 now.
Yeah.
Or not, they're 20 now. Yeah. They don't know anything about the '95 movies.
So, I mean, you look at it.
How did you went in with an open mind. You didn't know anything about the other games. What were some of the nitpicks that made you really not enjoy it?
I think one of the biggest things, I did like some of the characters from the game. I remember Gordo, is that his name?
Goro.
Gordo,
Goro.
The girl with the
Melina,
and who's the guy with the
hair?
No, the blue eyes.
Raiden. Yeah. With the electrical power.
Yeah. See, there were things like that I remember from advertisements and whatever. And one of the great scenes in the film is, they're going through the temple and there's the murals of the different characters from the previous installments. So I was like, okay, that was cool especially for fans that would probably enjoy that. But on a film standpoint, I just thought and you guys might agree, I just thought it was kind of predictable. It was like you can probably tell where we're going with this.
Well, I mean, you've got three main guys that are easily recognizable from the entire cast. You've got Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Raiden.
right.
Those are the most recognizable, and probably even I'd say Scorpion and Sub-Zero are
Fans.
number two.
Yeah.
For
You know.
fans.
Well, I mean, I'm saying for out, and I mean even Goro you can put up there in that category. But no, I'm saying like anybody who kind of knows that name, they're going to be like, oh, the guy who shoots ice out of his hands, or the guy with the spikes, or the guy with electricity.
Here's a good example. I told this to someone. They asked me how I liked the movie. I said, well, if you are not a fan of the MCU and hadn't seen any of the movies, and you sit down and watch Infinity War, you'd be like, who are these characters? Why are they important? They have cool, powers, but why do I care?
So this is one of those movies for a nostalgia video game fan.
Okay.
You could be a Mortal Kombat fan of the two movies, and I still think you'd feel that way.
Okay.
This is really, and you know what? Even the
Even the
90s,
video game fans.
even the early video games weren't this graphic.
Yeah.
Pretty much from 2010, 2008 to now is when the video games have gotten really, really brutal, really bloody. So that's what this movie was. I think this movie was really
It's trying to go
pleasing
towards
those
an
fans.
all-out, like when Kano goes through and rips out the reptile's heart.
Yeah.
That's another character, is Reptile.
Okay. So that was a thing. That wasn't made up for the movie.
Reptile's an actual character. He can
Okay.
spit the venom and the acid and all that. So when he rips his heart out and he says, Kano wins, like that's all
A reference
video
to, yeah.
game reference.
Okay.
So like
Do you guys think
Even
there was too much of that?
even to me it seemed cheesy at times, but like if you're trying to go after a video game adaptation and that's what it says in the video game, like finish him, a fatality, a flawless
That
victory.
was a little cheesy to me.
Some of them were cheesy, yes,
Yeah.
but it's a part of the video game, and I think that's what they're trying to do is just in it.
I could see introducing that as if during the tournament,
Right.
where an announcer is like, finish him.
Yeah.
Or
Because I mean, like what they did in '95,
Yes,
he was
that's-
finish him,
yeah.
or flawless
And,
victory.
and I do agree with that. I do think them saying their own lines was bad. Maybe like if Raiden was like, flawless victory.
yeah,
It's
if it
for-
came from one of them and not the actual person fighting.
Well, Scorpion, when he says, get over here,
Yeah.
does he say that in the game?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, even some of the little back and forth between some of the characters in game, that they say that specifically, like I don't know.
Between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, they're going to have certain dialogue.
Yeah.
Between Sub-Zero and Kano, they're going to have certain dialogue.
Yeah, and I mean, like if they had even played on that would have been kind of cool.
But for fans of the game and for outsiders, is that just too much on the nose?
No, your gripes are legitimate because
They should have made a movie pleasable for everybody. If that's like saying Marvel's going to put out a movie that is just for if you don't read the comics you're not going to enjoy this. No, Marvel didn't do that. They put out a movie and a product enjoyable for everyone.
And I think what the biggest thing that the thing that might hurt Mortal Kombat the most is the thing that they were trying to do. They were trying to put out a story that grabs the attention, makes
true,
money,
yeah.
and sets up a green light.
So
because if they came out and set it up to where Raiden finds Liu Kang as a child, and he brings him in and he trains him for a little bit, and then he's like, "There's a tournament, we have to find these fighters," and and they even said that he found fighters and they were killed.
Yeah.
So if they did something like that where they found whoever and they were killed on the way,
and he's also got a seasoned Liu Kang.
Yeah.
In '95, Liu Kang was brand new. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this one, Liu Kang has been through a few tournaments. Right? Or the tournaments every generation.
I think he was training for it basically, but it's every generation.
Okay.
But he was trained for it. And all
No,
that.
I'm talking about but Raiden has been through a tournament.
Raiden's been
Raiden's like
like
he's
500
the
years
elder
old.
Raiden and Shang Tsung are like
essentially
the quarterback or are the coaches for the NFL teams. They've been to the playoff. They've been to the Super Bowl. They've been to the tournaments. Whereas all these other players are new.
Yeah, they're the rookies.
So
literally,
and Liu Kang, he hasn't been to a tournament. He's trained long enough. He knows the lore behind what the
What
tournament.
about you, Ed? When's the last time you picked up a Mortal Kombat game?
Probably before 2008 for sure.
Craig,
it's
what
been
about
a
you?
long time.
I downloaded the XL edition on PS5 and tried it out. I wanted to play it so bad.
They're all the same.
Well, Tekken is so much better as a fighting game that after playing Tekken, it felt like I was just button mashing and the combos weren't authentic. So I was just like, I can't really get into this video game to learn the lore. So that's not really.
It's almost turned into more of a let me see how this character looks this year. Almost like a almost
It's like a Madden
visual
hash of
update.
Yeah. And then it's like let me buy the most expensive digital copy so I can see who they add this time. Like the Terminator or the Predator, they add DLCs.
They
like
need
that.
to stay away from that in these films. But again, I think if they try to start from scratch and set it up to where it's a Fellowship of the Ring type film where they set it up and it's no action, maybe one or two fight scenes, people are going to be super turned off and it's not going to make a lot of money.
Well, let's talk about the fighting scenes. You get introduced to Cole Young. He's an MMA fighter. You see him in that old school, not making a lot of money, fighting cage, and he's got the wife and the daughter. And Sub-Zero's already known about the lineage, so he's after him. Jack's
he doesn't know about the lineage. He just knows he has the mark on him.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's after him. Jax is trying to help out and save. Jax gets fucked up. Sub-Zero tears his arms off. What do you guys think of that?
I thought that was pretty cool because, you're sitting there and you're like, well, Jax has mechanical arms, where's his arms? And then obviously we saw in the trailer that it happens, so you kind of knew, but
it didn't show you. It didn't show you take the arms off in the Red Band. Probably in the Red Band trailer.
Probably.
But
just the whole thing of like, taking the arms off, and he didn't die because the ice cauterized the wounds. I thought that was, good at putting it in and showing why he didn't die and he could survive from it.
Zach, what about you? What did you think of that first? That was really one of the first, without the opening scene, that's really the first brutal scene of the movie. What did you think?
I thought it was one thing I will compliment this movie is just the authenticity of the games. Is if we're gonna make this, let's make it as graphic as we can possibly get away with. I saw that this was originally supposed to be NC-17 because apparently there was even more graphic imagery.
I'm all for it.
Graphic imagery for this. But again, I don't know these characters, but when
But when it comes down to the fighting and the blood and gore,
the blood and gore and the action sequences is what really makes the movie, and they succeeded on that. Even with when Jax's arms gets frozen off and he dies, you think he's dead. He comes back, and like you said, Greg, they give good explanation of like, oh, the cold cauterized the wounds, and he was able to live. So, yeah, I thought it was a great.
And I mean, even like I'm in no way a Mortal Kombat fan. Like I've played the video games. I like the video games. I like the characters. But I don't sit there and say, oh well, this storyline's from Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 4.
Yeah.
I don't know it like that.
And I don't think you need to.
No, but what I was getting at is, people who enjoy the video games and are like hardcore Mortal Kombat fans, they know going in that you're probably not going to get a Oscar-worthy plot. You're there to see the fight scenes, and I think the fight scenes delivered. In all.
Yeah, I mean, and going in, I'm knowing that this is based off a video game, so like you said, I'm not expecting the best film of all time. I'm just expecting to be entertained.
Right.
So.
And I think, like you said, Marvel, you kind of compared it to Marvel, whereas they make a film to where even if you're a first time watcher, it's enjoyable. You kind of get the gist of what's going on. I think the biggest thing here is they just made a film expecting people to know what's going on. They expected the title of the movie to carry a lot of weight, and people will just be like, "Oh, Mortal Kombat! I know exactly what's going on." When a lot of people don't, even me, like some of the Arcana, I had no idea that was a thing. I thought you either had the power or you didn't. I didn't know if you were a chosen fighter. Once you were chosen, you would get the power from being chosen. I didn't know that. So,
are the dragon the tattoos that they have or the burn marks? Is that a thing in the games?
Mm-hmm.
That's how they get recognized.
No, I just thought it was the logo of the game. I didn't know
it was because I thought that was too. I didn't know that. Is that like mythology of Mortal Kombat?
Are you asking the wrong guy? I don't know.
I really do think one of the gripes that I have about the film is I think they focus too much on CGI gore and the fight sequences. That some of the acting was just a little off for me. And I mentioned it in last week's episode that was one of the things that I was afraid of. I'm not expecting a Daniel Day-Lewis Oscar-worthy performance, but I'm at least wanting to believe that actor. I'm wanting to believe that he's in a serious fighter. Some of that did ruin the movie for me, and I know that they were going to focus in more on people that could actually do the fighting, the martial arts, but
Which
I appreciate too. But I mean, I would rather
you just want a little bit.
I want the believable acting.
I know. I think it was off air that you kind of griped about the Hanzo character, Scorpion. I don't think he was that bad. I mean,
no, I've seen that actor before in other things, and I like him. So
yeah, I mean,
I complained more about Sub-Zero.
He was actually the old man in Logan that was taking Wolverine's powers, or not Logan, but Logan.
The Wolverine.
Where
that was to Japan.
Yeah, that was taking his powers. The old man that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was him. But
and so I mean, Hanzo, old style ninja, which justified the fact that he could fight like that and was stealthy with a blade. And
the problem is like I think being on the outside of the gate, I think they made Sub-Zero a cool character, but then when he says "I am Sub-Zero," it's like, what? I don't know if he does. I mean,
in the games, I think he has before.
I don't think he says like "I am Sub-Zero," but he's like Sub-Zero. I think it just says Sub-Zero. But I think the way he says it is because it sets him up as not being that character. Well, he's
because if you have to remember, that's how Chang Sung was talking to him as
was Bi-Han.
Yeah, and then he's like, "No, I am now Sub-Zero."
Well, wasn't Bi-Han something before he was technically Sub-Zero, like Noob something? Isn't there another iteration of a character? Like Noob something.
I don't know. I don't think so.
But maybe just to make that difference or whatever have you. But yeah, definitely. Okay, so you've got the brutality in it. Honestly, one scene that I really, really liked was the sand pit scene, or the fight pit as they called it, when Kung Lao took I forget what the character,
the one with the wings.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And just spun his I don't know, for
the sombrero,
lack of better terms, hat, spun it in the sand as like a freaking saw and just ran her ass through it. Like, okay, bitch, you can fly.
Well,
I've got this.
That was something I was like his
speciality, or
his hat is basically Captain America's shield in a way.
I guess so.
And
but I mean,
even when he did that fatality, it was kind of cheesy because he was like riding on like a surfboard, and the blood was just on his face, and he's enjoying it. And I didn't get any sense of him being that way leading up to that point, which made the scene kind of weird.
But yeah,
like
it was like, damn.
Like if Kano was doing that, like he took his hat and threw it down and was riding her, and he was laughing and smiling while the blood was in his face, that would be believable. But at no point up to that point did I feel like Kung Lao was going to react that way.
You have that in the video games, though.
Right.
Some of the nicest people that are in story mode, when they have those fatalities, they're
like Johnny
there,
Cage.
Yeah, they're laughing and they're enjoying the blood splash on their face.
Because I mean, he seemed egotistical because I am Kung Lao, descendant of Kung Lao,
and that's the same guy that gets his soul sucked out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God he dies.
Damn, man,
that was that
like, holy shit.
I thought.
Well, I mean, the only
I thought he had a huge. I thought he had a huge
the mummy for a minute.
I didn't. Did you guys like Allison and Emily, the mother and the daughter in the movie?
I mean, they're all right.
It was just something it was a plot point for Cole. Yeah.
To get his Arcana.
That's probably one of my biggest gripes. Is just Cole. Cole Young just the mate? I don't think you needed the made up.
I think
character.
if you would have just started with Liu Kang like the '90s, but just made it better, I think you would have been fine.
Well, even the actor that portrays
Liu Kang,
Cole Young, he's just not believable. I really had a hard time liking him and his character from literally the very, very beginning.
Something I will say about this film is that anytime they introduced another character or one of the characters from the video games, I do feel it felt very cinematic. But I don't know anything about this world, I feel like I was just missing something.
That's why I think you should have at least watched the '95 version before this one. Maybe you would have been like, okay, I've heard that name. I know what those characters are capable of.
There's a tournament of champions.
Yeah.
And
'95 would explain it probably a little bit better than the way they just threw it out there for everybody to review.
Like at the end of the movie, when he walks by the poster and it has
Johnny Cage.
like I was thinking to myself, like
You don't know who
that's a
that
big
is.
deal, right? That's a big
Oh,
deal
yeah.
for fans.
That's a huge teaser for a sequel.
yeah.
And it's also a big deal for fans because there's a lot of people in this movie, me particularly, who were like, "Where's he at? When's he coming out?" Same thing with Goro. I was really pissed when certain movie theaters, company wide, released a photo of Goro in action. Trailers didn't show him. Didn't know he was in the film. I didn't want to know he was in the film. And then a movie company or a movie theater released a poster, get tickets now, and there he is. And I'm like, are you
jumping out.
fucking serious?
And then not only that, but they kill him off
They
in 20 minutes.
They make him look like a bitch, just like the '95 version. He's a big old scary dude, and he's in the video game. He's a character that you don't get to use until you defeat, at least in the older ones. Now you can just pay for him. In the older games, you had to beat the entire tournament or the round. The towers. Remember the towers?
Yeah.
You had to beat the towers on hard in order to get this character. So he's a big deal. All right, and then
But doesn't he like at the end when the leader of the bad crew like
Shang Tsung.
like all the black
Yeah.
fog
Smoke
comes
and
over
all
them
that.
and he like disappears. Like
Right.
you can clearly tell they're gonna come back.
Because, I mean, honestly, he did say that, oh, you've just killed my warriors, but death is the next level or stage.
And
or
that's-
something.
that
I
is
thought he
another
was going to
thing.
say some shit like the Mummy and say death is only the beginning. I'm like,
Right.
I was waiting for it.
Well, I mean, seeing
That's another thing that
jumping
kind of
forward,
irritates me.
Scorpion coming back at the end, where he's like, "I came from hell to beat you." Like that could lead into a whole other thing of there being a certain realm where that's where the tournament's going to be. Where even though everybody,
Well, this could have just been an exhibition.
yeah, where you like the entire cast could have died in this film, and then leave it on a cliffhanger of something like Johnny Cage coming back and starting up something new, and then it comes back and Raiden's like, "No, like." You're on Earth, but there's another realm we have to go to, and he takes them to another realm, and everybody who ever died is there, and you have like another massive turn. Like, I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
that's where that could lead to where like no death is meaningful from here on out.
But if they do stay off camera and if they do stay dead, that just ruined it. Whatever they have left for me, because like Goro is a huge character, and to have the nobody, the guy who just randomly shows up, kill him just like that.
So
And-
here's a question. So like say
Pretty-
this is not a success for HBO Max or Warner Brothers or whatever, which it probably will be. But if they said no, that's it, we're not doing another one, are you guys satisfied with this?
No,
No,
Ed.
I enjoyed it as a film, but knowing that there's a possibility of more just raises it a little bit for me.
Exactly. And I mean, honestly, that's, when you've already teased Citizen Cage, Johnny Cage for that matter, in that film, then you're already going ahead and setting it up as in, like, he's supposed to be the bigger guy. Like, he's going to be not maybe Liu Kang, but he's going to be kind of another maybe equal, maybe just a bit lesser or something like that. Because you've already killed off Kung Lao, who was supposed to be, like, the ultimate guy for Earth Realm and all that. So it's like, okay, what are we doing now? But at the same time, I did enjoy it, but at the same time, yeah.
And I just feel like for fans of this, I just feel like it's kind of a slap in the face that they say, here's your main character that you're looking for to see in this movie, and all you see is just like the name on a poster, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. I'm not
He's
gonna
one of
say. Yeah, I'm not going to say like people expected him to be in the film. I kind of expected him to be in the film because he was in the '90s films. But
Is he the main character in the 90s version?
No,
No,
he's a side character, but he's a very, very popular character.
yeah.
He is somebody that's almost like
When you go to a tournament for Mortal Kombat, people are going to be using him.
yeah, but character wise, he's almost a Ryan Reynolds smart mouth kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
An
I
actor
could
who
see.
thinks-
They get
he's
Ryan
very-
Reynolds to play him.
No, what I was gonna say is I could really see Ryan Gosling playing Johnny Cage. If they could set that up somehow, Ryan Gosling would be perfect. I know he's blonde.
Or Ben Foster.
No, hey, but no, I think
Or Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
no. Ryan Gosling, if the way he was in Drive,
He's yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's very,
imagine that.
so
but
Johnny Cage is very pretty boy, very Hollywood, but he also
Egotistical.
he's egotistical. Yeah.
So yeah, I
Like
can see Ryan Gosling play that.
Kung Lao, but as an actor.
Oh,
Okay, so he's the pretty boy, blonde hair, like Brad Pitt in the late '90s, but very, very egotistical, full
Very
of himself.
douchey.
Kind of like Fight Club.
You
Brad
know,
Pitt.
literally in the '95 one, Johnny Cage actually looks at Liu Kang and is like, "Oh, hey, here's my bags. Make sure they get on the ship. Thank you." And then Liu Kang kind of turns around, throws his fucking briefcase in the water, and is like, "Oh, there it is."
And then
Thanks.
Johnny Cage says, "Thank God it wasn't my car."
Yeah.
The two characters for me, though, on a positive note, that stole the show for me that I absolutely loved was Sonya Blade and Kano. I think them back and forth throughout the whole movie, and then the acting, the chemistry that them two had, to me, they were I would say my favorite characters.
I would say Kano for sure, and I think Raiden was a little bit better, and Melina.
Raiden was good, but to me, Raiden was not believable. And I think
To some degree,
I think
yeah.
it's because he was way too serious. And I know that's what Raiden's supposed to be, but I still couldn't. Some of the acting for me, man.
The 95 Raiden I enjoyed the most. When they put what's his face as Raiden in the Annihilation,
yeah.
I was like, oh dear God.
Felt like you were watching Hercules.
A bad film, yeah.
So I didn't like how Goro dies. Goro went out like a bitch again. He went out like a bitch in the 95. That's probably one of my biggest gripes about it. I was really expecting him to be at the end. So, what did you guys think of just the overall fight sequences? I knew they were good. The choreograph was okay. Editing was shit. But what did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't necessarily get a tournament, so to speak, but we did get, people who had issues with the opposition is kind of how they split it up. So you had Kano versus Sonya Blade. You had Raiko versus Jax.
Yeah.
They sent Cole off because he was a little bitch, and then Goro found, got him.
Oh yeah, he didn't want to. I don't want any part of this. Send me back to my family.
Well, he was just like,
he should have died. Goro should have just ripped
no,
him
because
apart.
Raiden was like, you're
Get
a
the fuck outta here.
liability,
Yeah.
because you can't get your Arcana. So.
Yeah, get out of here, bitch.
And then, of course, you had Kung Lao versus the girl with the wings. And
I wanted to see Shang Tsung get down and dirty.
He probably will later on in a sequel if we get one.
Hopefully.
But I've got to say, like, did anybody kind of feel like the Arcana was kind of just like shortchanged with Sonya Blade, or do you feel like she had that skill? Because literally, she killed Kano, showed up to help Cole with Melina, and all of a sudden she's like fucking got her like, I'm gonna say 10 rings because that's what it kind of looks like.
It looked like Shuri's little
yeah.
blasters.
But she already had hers in the quick 2 seconds later.
A good way that they could have shown Sonya Blade getting hers is Raiko beating the shit out of Jax.
Oh yeah.
And then she shows up and helps him that way.
Because I mean, it was the reverse for Jax. She was down and out, and he kind of had to do that.
Because then that would have shown that they truly cared for each other instead of her showing up and helping. Who'd she help out?
Cole Young.
Yeah, dude, come on. Like that's a missed opportunity. But yeah, I thought the fight scenes were good. Not the greatest fight scenes I've ever seen. But I think if they just stay on the path and make the next one better and not go.
You already gave us some of the acting is bad, yeah, but you already gave us these characters. I just hope if the next one comes out, they don't interchange characters like
Raiden.
Yeah.
For 90. Yeah.
So.
It all kind of depends on, like you said, the Johnny Cage casting. If they do come out with a second one, that could make or break the next film. Because if Johnny Cage is, some unknown douchebag who just looks, pretty boyish and he sucks at acting, that's going to be one thing. Because he's a Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
You have to be perfect on this Johnny Cage casting for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the ending did hype me up. I did enjoy the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The Scorpion Sub-Zero fight was awesome. It was exactly what I wanted it to be.
The part where he cuts Scorpion, freezes his blood, stabs him, and throws him through the ice wall. Like, dude, when I saw that, I was just like, yes.
Does anybody think, and you don't have to tell your star rating now, seeing this in a theater, would it change anybody's star rating 1 or 2 notches higher or lower?
I think no, because the soundtrack wasn't there for me.
True. Another boring, generic soundtrack.
And I don't think that's their fault because it was only a $50 million budget. So I mean, if you would have had more scenes where,
But
like,
can you imagine if this came out with us not being in a pandemic? This movie would have probably bombed.
I don't think it would have bombed.
I don't think it would have bombed.
You don't think it would've bombed?
It would have made its money.
It would
You
have.
think so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because people would have went and saw it, and then they would have been like, "Oh, the movie sucked." And they'd be like, "Well, did you play the Mortal Kombat games?" No, I went as a fan. They would have been like, "Oh, well, then I'm not gonna fucking listen to you."
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of like this. It's almost like a damned if you do and a damned if you don't episode.
Yeah,
To where, like, you think it would have had that not Scorpion, but that Suicide Squad effect? You go see it and you're like, oh, this is nothing like the comics. This is terrible.
no, because I think people are gonna be happy that it's just better than the '95 version in some ways.
But you also have to look at some of the people who watched the 95 version. Like, are you watching the 95 version as a 95 fan, or are
Right.
you watching as a preteen college dropout?
I know, and that's why this film's gonna go either way. I think it's gonna make its money back. Yes, if it gets greenlit, that's a whole other story.
I mean, the fans, from what I can tell, the fans are happier with this. I mean, it's like sitting at like 55% for critics, but it's like 88% on audience. So.
Yeah, it's Google has it at like 83%. The Metascore is at 44. IMDb has it at 7.
So yeah, I mean, it all depends on how they're gonna take. Like we said with what did we say for the film? You know, how are you gonna take into account
What's more important to you, really?
the money or the views?
Yeah, or are you like, as a fan, are you more like, for me, for example, I kind of wanted the best of both worlds. I knew I wasn't going to get it, but if I took the acting away, this movie is exactly what I wanted it to be: gory, bloody,
The fighting,
great violence,
fighting was believable.
great fighting. But as an overall movie, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's okay.
It's left shortchanged, but like I said, the more and more they bring in, the Johnny Cage casting will be huge.
Ryan Gosling.
Hashtag Ryan Gosling.
Hashtag not my Liu Kang.
Yes, I'm just, we're gonna have to like just hashtag and send as many tweets to Ryan Gosling as possible to where he just, somebody has to.
So if it wasn't Ryan Gosling, is there anyone else off the top of our heads that we could think of that would be? Because he showed me a picture of a wrestler.
Yeah,
Did you see it?
they've already started talking about some WWE star saying that
The Miz.
The Miz.
Yeah.
I mean, he
can't act for shit.
Yeah, he can't act for shit, but he can do his own stunts. Oh, look, Mortal Kombat 2021. So,
We need to get a cricket sound when that happens.
No,
if they're already in talks with the Miz, I mean, he's a douchebag. He's believable as a douchebag, and he does look like he can play that role physically. So,
As a douchebag.
yeah,
yeah,
I can see it.
All roads lead to douchebag.
he can't act though.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling would be a much better, in my opinion. I
Probably
agree
too
with
much
you.
money though. They don't want to go over $50 million budget. Miz will do it for a bag of Cheez-Its and a root beer.
Hell, he's on USA Network
Yeah.
for whatever show he's on.
So, but let's get in. We'll talk about our favorite scenes before we get into the mailbag and the Oscar predictions. Ed, do you have any favorite scenes you want to talk about?
Probably the fight pit. Where everybody kind of has a little
Like the
exhibition
tryout?
shows, basically. Seeing how everybody uses their weapons and powers and shit like that. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah.
Zach, what about you? You have any favorite scenes?
I'll say that the opening sequence in the 17th century.
Yeah.
I thought that was well done, and the Sub-Zero versus Scorpion scene at the fight at the end. I thought was. I thought it was, now that when he said he was Scorpion, I was like, oh, okay, so these are pretty much the two big characters going at it. So
I enjoyed the beginning where Scorpion finds his family frozen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty well put together scene. Looked good, believable. I like every scene that Goro was in just because it was pretty cool to see that big sumbitch on screen. Looked believable. The CGI was cool. He didn't look, like the 2003 Hulk.
Well, does anything look like the 2003 Hulk?
Yes. And then I kind of enjoyed the fight sequences, like Kung Lao throwing the hat, Shang Tsung, the Kano and Cabal scene.
Mm-hmm.
Those mix up, him bringing him to the dark world, if you will.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then the ending fight scene was really good.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero, Scorpion.
I thought Cabal as a character was really good.
Yeah.
His weapons, his movement, Melina's movement where she kind of teleports was all kind of tying into the video game.
Thought with Cabal it was pretty funny. He was like, "Yeah, Kano's the piece of shit who put me in this fucking iron lung."
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there were some really good parts in this film. There was also some really bad parts in this film. But yeah, the Cabal, the Melina, I thought those were two of the better characters. Kano had, even though it might have been outdone in some parts, had some great comic relief. And then the Sub-Zero freezing off Jax's arms, I thought was just badass.
Yeah, that's another cool scene. Let's dig into the star rating. Ed, we'll start with you. What would you give this movie?
8 out of 10. I actually really liked it. I appreciated the fight choreography and all that quite a bit, as well as what went into CGI wise. So yeah.
I think I'm gonna give this movie a 6. Not even the fighting styles or the mixed martial arts. You could put Chuck Norris in there. I don't think it'd save it from the god awful acting that this movie kind of just.
I don't think it was god awful.
It was god awful.
It was.
This is a underworld god awful. I'm giving it a 6 though. I just kind of wanted a little bit more from my Mortal Kombat characters. 6. Craig, what about you?
Yeah, surprisingly, I think I'm right there with you. It's a 6, but the possibility of others is like, if I were to tell somebody to go watch it, I would say, go watch it. It is the first of possibly many. So, I mean, if we were to watch The Fellowship of the Ring and leave it at that and say that's the only film in the trilogy.
No, I refuse.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's shitty by itself, but as a whole, it could be really good.
It's a good starter film if we get anything afterwards.
Yeah, that's so, if you come into it and you're like, this is Mortal Kombat, this is the only one we're doing, like, this is the start to finish. I'm going to go in and be like, this movie's kind of shit.
Yeah, because they left you on that big cliffhanger.
But if we end up getting, like Marvel, the more you add to it, the better it gets. If we get all of that and it ends up being really good, then you can cut some slack for the first one.
Yeah, this rewatch might be better
because it leads into something bigger. So I'm going to say 6, but I'm hoping for the latter.
Yeah. Zach, what about you?
That's very surprising because I thought all of y'all would have a higher grade than me.
I mean, I want more out of my movie than just blood and fighting.
Right.
The highs were high, but the lows were pretty low for me.
I think the thing that for me is just the entertainment. Like, I wasn't bored with this movie. I wasn't like checking my phone saying, "Oh my god, how much more I got of this." 7. I mean, it's somewhere just like, I don't hate this, but I don't love it. I'm just kind of like, okay, like you said, Greg, if they make another one and they improve, then yeah, maybe this on rewatch will be better.
I've got to say, yeah, I will agree with that. Like, it kind of flew by.
Yeah.
And so far I've watched it 3 times already. It flew the fuck by.
So
I was just like, okay, maybe
so it's
that
another Godzilla versus Kong for you.
Not necessarily like that, but it was just like, okay, the first time I was, of course, just first original watch. Second time it was just kind of like, okay, maybe that just flew by because it was brand new to me. So let's see how this goes. And the third was like, okay, I kind of want to see how all the fighting styles are and go from there.
And I know people might be listening and be like, well, but this was on your number 1 for, video game adaptations. I still thoroughly enjoyed the film.
A 6 is not a terrible rating.
I'm giving it a tough love 6. Like, I want you to be better. I want you to be the best version of yourself. It's a tough love 6.
It's a coming to Jesus meeting.
Yeah. Like,
come back and improve.
You were good, but I want you to be better.
Like Mortal Kombat, you're fine. Don't worry about it. I just need you to be better the next time I see you.
This guy is that 6 is Cole Young in the MMA octagon.
Yeah.
At first.
So for me, it's a 6 because Cole Young was kind of Like, I don't even really understand the suit and shit with Cole Young.
Kind of reminded me of a Wakanda.
Looked like Seth Rollins.
And then, and then the hashtag not my Liu Kang. Those two really kind of irked me in the film. Everything else was fine.
I was gonna say, yeah, I agree with the flexing shit.
He was like,
I was waiting on him to just shit himself at one time. I'm like, dude,
95 Liu Kang would beat the shit out of you. All right.
The best way to
I don't know. The fireball would come in.
The best way to describe this is like, it's not you, it's me.
There you go.
That's not me, it's you.
So you said the fireball.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, Liu Kang turned into a freaking dragon. All right.
And he fell when he has wings.
When
Like,
I was watching
bro.
that, I was laughing. So I was like, whoever directed this film was like, let's have the baddest martial arts people have some badass fight scenes, and then when we get to the end, we're gonna leave it up to CGI and completely bomb it.
Yeah.
Like, if that's a movie pitch, I don't want to be in that room.
No. And those people are probably out of jobs and homeless right now.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah,
Or dead with the. Never mind.
as you guys saw,
Where did it go?
to me, Mortal Kombat was not flawless. It was not a flawless victory. But like I said, you guys can check it out on HBO Max and in theaters and send us your reviews. You guys have already started sending us your reviews and your star ratings, so I appreciate it. We're gonna get into the mailbag and read off some emails and then give some Oscar predictions. Dylan says Scorpion King was a tough rewatch for me. I hadn't seen it in years. 5 stars. Oof.
5 stars.
That's all you need. Oof.
Terrence says my worst CGI scene is definitely the Fantastic Four with Chris Evans. Every time he gets ignited, it's terrible.
Flame off.
Flame off. Steven says I love how you guys are so mixed on your reviews. 4 different reviews on almost every episode. Keeps me coming back and wanting more. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on Mortal Kombat.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Like, I guarantee you, by the time he's done with this episode, he's gonna be mine like, what the hell?
Well, I mean, at least originality and authentication for us, at least. So yeah.
Valerie says my favorite video game movie is Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider. Did you guys know that her dad is actually in that movie with her?
Yeah.
John Voight. Nice. In real life, she's also like, "Where were you my whole life?"
Wow.
That's true.
Oh my
That's true. Jocelyn says my top 5 video game movie is Sonic the Hedgehog. Eric says the Scorpion King is a big pile of Donkey Kong shit. 3 stars. You guys are so hilarious. I love when you guys talk shit on movies, and those sequels are definitely terrible. I know from the Scorpion King. Don't watch them.
Yeah, are you gonna listen to him this time?
I am.
Okay.
I'm not gonna watch any of those.
Oh, you didn't come back and watch them?
No,
I was so looking forward to that.
No,
You can't even find them in the $3 bill.
true. Heather says Mortal Kombat was fun for me. 7 stars. Barry says I love the darkness of the final episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The New York City fights were amazing. Do you guys think that some more Marvel films should be darker?
I wouldn't mind it. And I
Yeah,
think
I
some
mean-
darker ones are on the way.
Having a quote unquote it's what I call the DC feel, where it's like heavy. It doesn't necessarily have to be dark. Just give me some heaviness to where I'm like when Thanos was beating the shit out of Hulk and took Loki. Give me that.
Or when Wyatt Russell, took that dude's head off. You didn't see it, but the
Yeah.
blood, that was pretty
Give
cool.
me some of that.
Yeah. Valerie says Mortal Kombat was decent. Story seemed out of whack. The only thing that saved it were the fight scenes and gore. 5 stars. Sam G69 says my top 5 video game movies are Sonic, Mortal Kombat 95, Warcraft, Mario Brothers, and his number 1 is Doom.
Hey, we had
Okay.
3 together.
I think he's high too, Ed.
Touch on it.
No,
Fuck it, eh.
touch it, touch me.
That should be on the t-shirt.
Jim66 says Mortal Kombat was amazing, 9 stars, bloody and gory. Sarah97 says Mortal Kombat was okay, bloody, action was just what I wanted, but the editing was pretty bad, and I did not like any of the jokes in it. 4 stars.
Tough love. It's tough love. I want you to be better. That's all it is. Just want you to be better.
Isaiah says worst CGI that he has seen is the entire Mortal Kombat Annihilation movie. Rewatched it because of you guys, and I cannot get that hour and 30 minutes back.
I'm sorry, I can't get my hour 30 minute either.
To be fair, I had not seen that until that day, until this week. So
Well, I said go back and see it because I just feel like I don't know.
So Annihilation, like some of the fight scenes were okay, the characters were okay, but like as a whole, the CGI in it.
I don't like the guy who played Shao Kahn.
No, Shao Kahn,
and he was
Raiden,
he's supposed to be bigger and badder than Shang Tsung.
Yeah, it was
We'll see.
Yeah, it was bad.
Henry says the rewatch of the Scorpion King was tough. 5 stars. Man, well, I'm not gonna read all the Dwayne Johnson emails. I'm saving those for next week. We
don't have one more.
we're getting ready to talk all about Dwayne Johnson and The Rock next week. It takes place. So next week we're talking all about Dwayne Johnson as he is our next profile piece. Man, we haven't done a profile piece in quite a bit.
Yeah. We did Pixar.
We did the Pixar one.
But like on a person, I don't think we lived Spielberg.
Spielberg was the
June.
last one. So because Johnny Depp was last May. So we are talking all about Dwayne Johnson next Monday, the day after his birthday. So should be a pretty fun episode. Send us all your top 5 plus 5 Dwayne Johnson movies, moments, whatever you want. So, hell, fuck it. Send us your top 5 Rock matches as well. Whatever you want to send us The Rock, send it to us. Send us the email, cinemen921@gmail.com, and just bring everything up about The Rock. So, other than that, guys, let's get ready to get into some. We're going to give our final Oscar predictions. As by the time you get done finishing this episode, you will probably be getting ready, hopefully, to turning into and seeing the Oscars. And then you guys can also send us some Facebook messages and Facebook comments and anything on Instagram messages and comments, and I will read them aloud just on emails as well. So facebook.com/movie reels 405, or just Facebook search the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, comment, message, and I'll read them out aloud as well. Joshua says his top 5 video game movies are Resident Evil. This is 5-1. Resident Evil, Mortal Kombat 95, Final Fantasy Spirits Within is number 3. Number 2 is Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, and the number 1 is Resident Evil Damnation.
I will say the Final Fantasy films are really good. The CGI in those, however you want, animation, whatever, really good in those films.
Dusty says his top 5 is Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider, Silent Hill, Final Fantasy Spirits Within, and then number 1 is Resident Evil. And then he'd like to add, as a kid who didn't know better, I watched these VHS tapes of Super Mario Brothers, Double Dragon, and Street Fighter so many times my family worried about me.
I actually did watch the Super Mario Brothers way back.
Oh, I enjoyed it back in the day before I knew any better.
I mean, Joe Leguizamo is still fucking cheesier than shit, but
I went back and saw what the Goombas were, and I'm like, ooh.
But now, Zach, let's give our final Oscar predictions before the big awards ceremony. Give or take, I don't know if this means anything to anybody out there, but being surrounded by so many of these movies, going and seeing them, watching them. Craig, you guys can all put in your 2 cents too, but when you have a very big, powerful movie and it gets that stamp of approval and it says Academy Award winner, I don't know about you guys, but it kind of makes me really want to see something that much more, because this is the Super Bowl of films. Yeah. This is the NBA Finals. It's just one of those things that it could be a really, really good movie and people are like, oh, I don't really get it. But, I did the same thing for Robert Downey Jr. in Endgame. I was like, that dude, he should have at least an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
It just makes that movie that much better.
Yeah, and like you said, most people think, with the Oscars, they've always picked films that no one gives a care about. But
that's not true.
You know,
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Joker.
Heath Ledger.
All the Star Wars movies get nominated when they come out for best CGI animation, score, soundtrack. So read them off, Zach.
So we're not going to go through all of these, but I'll just go through and pick different ones. And yeah, Ed, Craig, you're more than welcome to hop in and just say what you think. For best visual effects, we have Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, Milan, The One and Only Ivan, and I think the one we're all going to pick is Tenet.
For what award?
Best visual effects.
Yeah. I agree with that on Tenet.
Tenet.
Yeah.
What do you think, Johnny?
Was the Three Bloods not in there? The
There's
Five
only
Bloods?
one. No.
Yeah, fuck that award. But I think the Tenet's gonna probably win.
Best cinematography: Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, News of the World, Nomadland, and Trial of the Chicago 7.
I think Mank is gonna win that award.
Yeah, it's very Hollywoody. That's not even a word.
What about you guys?
I'm not sure, honestly. I haven't seen most of those.
No, I don't.
No. Best sound: Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal. Me personally, probably Sound of Metal, because because it's about a guy that's basically going deaf, and that really fucks with you when you're watching the movie.
Best score?
Sound.
Yeah. What was the nominations again?
Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal. 2 Tom Hanks movies in that. It's fun.
I'd say it's got to be Greyhound, Soul, or Sound of Metal. I agree with you on that.
Okay.
I'd say Soul.
Best original score: Defy Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul. I'm gonna say Soul.
Yeah. Even though the Five Bloods,
That's his only nomination.
I'm gonna say the Five Bloods because that's yeah.
I think Sound of Metal might win sound, and then Soul will win score.
Yeah. What do you think, Ed? Soul. Soul.
Yeah, I could agree with that because it does.
It's a movie about a guy who is in a band. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Best documentary feature. One of my favorite films of last year, My Octopus Teacher, is nominated. I think it'd be cool if it really won that. That's on Netflix if anyone wants to watch it. Best animated feature.
What were the other nominations for best documentary?
Collective, Crip Camp, The Mole Agents, and Time. I don't know what any of that is except for the one that I said. Best animated feature: Onward, Over the Moon, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. Soul. Yep. Best original screenplay: Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Trial of the Chicago 7.
I'd like to see Promising Young Woman on that one.
I'd agree. Best adapted screenplay: Borat, subsequent movie film, The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and The White Tiger. Borat.
I think it'll be.
Probably Nomadland.
Nomadland.
Yeah. Okay, so here comes like the big awards. Best supporting actor: Sacha Baron Cohen for Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. from One Night in Miami, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah. I'd say Daniel.
You think he'll get it?
I think he'll get it.
I would like. It doesn't matter to me as far, but I want to see one of them two from Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, I think it'll be Daniel.
Yeah. Best supporting actress: Maria Baklava for Borat, subsequent movie film, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman, The Father, Amanda Seyfried, Mank, and Yun Ju Chong from Minari.
I think it'll be.
I think probably
the woman from Minari. I heard she's getting a lot of praise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't seen that movie yet, but I personally think
Young Ju Hong.
No, I think Olivia Colman will get it for The Father.
Amanda Seyfried was really the front runner for a long time, but that's kind of died off. I think it's jokingly, but I think Maria Baklava, she did such a good job in that movie that she kind of outshined Sasha.
I will say, I do think she did good in the movie, but I will say it's more the fact that.
But I don't think she'll win.
I think the Academy did that for a joke.
Guys,
let's just laugh.
Guys, so the podcast may only have 3 next week because if she wins, Johnny might just die right there.
Yeah.
I'll have the job up.
Right. Okay, so Best Actress: Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andrea Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and probably my win, Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. I wanted Vanessa Kirby for a long time.
I think Vanessa Kirby's still going to get it.
I think it's going to be Carey Mulligan.
The first 20 minutes of that movie is just, yeah.
Yeah, but Carey Mulligan, she's vicious in that movie.
She is vicious, but go back and watch the first. Anybody, even if you guys don't want to watch the whole movie, go back and watch the first 20 minutes of Pieces of a Woman on Netflix. Come back next week and tell me what you think.
I think that the hype for Frances McDormand's dead.
Yeah,
by now.
Especially you see her shitting in a fucking Home Depot box.
It's a real thing. And then Best Actor, it's probably going to be obvious. Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, Gary Oldman, Mank, and Stephen Yeun for Minari.
I think it should go.
Chadwick's gonna get it.
Yeah, it's not.
He's good in that movie.
It's okay.
Do you think it's?
I think it's
sympathy vote.
The Heath Ledger. Honestly, it hurts me. I mean, I'm gonna probably get all kinds of shit, but I think it's just it was an okay movie, and
the Heath Ledger effect.
Yes, and it's just the one scene I can see where he can put his name in the box, and it was a good performance. But if me personally, I think he's gonna win. But
I think if it wasn't him, I think it would be Riz Ahmed. I think he was really good in Sound of Metal.
And what is that? An Amazon Prime movie? What that just came out too, didn't it?
It was like 3-4 months.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
I think it's like February it came out.
I know from The Father, Anthony Hopkins is getting a lot of
praise. Yeah. Best Director, Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round. I don't even know what that is. David Fincher for Mank. Lee Isaac Chung for Minari. Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Emerald Fennell for Promising Omen.
I think Minari's going to win Best Director.
I think Nomadland. I think Chloe Zhao's pretty much won everything that she's been nominated for. Emerald Fennell would be cool because I thought she directed the hell out of that.
Mm-hmm. And
then finally, Best Picture. The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Trial of the Chicago 7.
I want Promising Young Woman to win, but
I agree.
think
Nomadland's going to take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
those are the Oscar nominations. We will talk about the winners on the Dwayne Johnson episode.
Yeah. So next week we are talking winners, Dwayne Johnson, and some more Memorial Day movies. Other than that, Craig, do you have anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Yeah. Last week we had the guy email about the movies from India, I believe. I didn't forget about you. I'm going to check out My Name is Khan. I'll give you my reaction next week.
Nice.
So,
Zach, what about you?
I will see you next week for the Dwayne Johnson profile pick.
Ed, do you have anything you want to add on, or are we seeing you next week?
Yeah, of course. I'll always be here. No, I gotta say, go check out Mortal Kombat. Maybe the sequel will be even better and make this one better. So hopefully, keep your fingers crossed. But other than that, this is Ed saying, I will see you on the silver screen.
All right, guys, don't forget that thigh slap. Don't forget hashtag our top 5 plus 5 Dwayne Johnson movies from next week. Send us anything about Dwayne Johnson in your top 5 next week, and we will talk to you next week when we literally talk about The Rock and Dwayne Johnson all week next week right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
It's